Welcome to Eight Questions with. Welcome to the cast of Webster County. Oh, wait a minute, that's not right. They're not here tonight. Well, we were going to have the cast of Webster County here, but unfortunately, they got a flat tire on the way to the show, so we had to reach in there and grab our good friend Eric to come out and hang out with us. Actually, that show has been rescheduled. We're going to meet the producers and the director and the cast members of The Wicked Ways of Webster County on June 19th. June 19th, that's a Monday. That'll be at 8 o'clock. And yeah, baseball. You know what? Katie, and thanks. I've got to give a shout out for popping the popcorn. So, it was a last minute thing. Some shit flew up. Life came into play, and we heard from Michael Menard saying that he couldn't do the date. That happened.
It does. Yeah.
So no problem. So I said, okay, well, I knew Katie has scheduled her show for. Hey, Anthony, doing well. Do not mention 1996. It better be 1997 or nothing. He got stuck and he's like it time warped in 1996.
It was a better time. I'll give him that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you know what? It's gonna be like It's gonna be like 3 pages of Anthony's life. Then it's gonna be 45 pages of the World Series, which is awesome. He's sitting there right now talking about how the Yankees won the World Series, and I'm going like, "Go Anthony, go!" But they won in '97 and '98 and '99, so right about that too. But anyway, glad you're writing your memoirs, Anthony. Keep going on, my brother. Keep going on. So Katie was supposed to have those guys because Al did it first, and this is something new for us. We're actually doing interviews with a movie and trying to help them raise money for their movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've never done that before. I've never done a show where I'm sitting there going like, donate. But
so you're doing like a live crowd fund type of thing,
right?
Okay.
So Al did the first interview with it, and then I was supposed to get the second, and then Katie was supposed to do it in June. But and that's how it was supposed to go. And then I said, I told Michael, I said, Katie's got you next. I'll get you in July. And he's like, well, but we're gonna we'll be done by that. And one of the things that anybody who's worked with me knows is that I don't really book anybody within a 4-week bubble. Like I just don't do it. If you book John Smith on the first week of May, I'm not going to take them to the first week in June,
right?
Because it's got to be a 4-week bubble, because otherwise people just won't come. So he goes, well, what if Katie does her show like, in 2 days, and can we do it in June? And I said, well, if Katie says yes, then I can do that.
Right.
Katie has to say yes, and Katie said yes, and she let him have it 2 days afterwards. I felt bad for them both, actually. I felt really bad for them both, because 2 days is no chance to promote at all.
Yeah.
You're not going to promote at all. And really sucks about it is you're not going to be able to promote it, which means that anybody that shows up is probably not going to donate any money. And that was our goal, to help these guys, is actually raise money to help them get their movie made. So, I mean,
that's just the chance you take, man. Sometimes you just got to deal with the cards that are given and just cross your fingers.
Like I'll be promoting their show. Like most of the time I promote shows the day of. That's when I push everything out, because of people, but for this show, I'm gonna be pushing it once or twice a week, because we are trying to help them raise money. And it's really weird, is this is a microcosm now. And I think as you go on during the summer and you start interviewing more film directors and personalities yourself, super psyched to see you both, and you and Pug were both in the Iowa group. That was cool to see. I know I sent you guys invites, but cool to see you guys. And I hyped you guys up as being great interviewers. And there's a lot of group.
I actually got a request to do an interview from somebody. Let's see here. due to your promotion of me. His name is, where is it? Austin Galente.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
because
Austin's a really nice guy.
he messaged me out of the blue, said he saw you or saw me or your post or about me type of thing, and he sent me a short film, a short fan film, and he would like me to interview him. And I said, I want people before if I don't know them personally and they're filmmakers, I want them to see me review their content first to see A, if they like my style, and B, because if I'm doing a review of a film, I can't show favoritism. You know what I mean? Like
No,
I'm
that's
just gonna
no,
praise this guy just because he's
nope.
gonna be a guest. So I said,
Mm,
let me watch it first. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'll give some constructive criticism. I'll praise what I like. I'll tell you if I don't like it. And if you, I didn't say it in these words, but if you aren't upset or kind of butthurt if I didn't like certain things of the film, then we could work something out because I don't want to either lie and praise a person's film when I didn't like it or make them upset and say, "Hey, I didn't really like your film," and then still maybe have that type of conflict, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had that. I had
Cuz
that happen
it's
to me
not fair to
too.
them.
No, no. That's the same that I learned that too. I learned that too. I tell people all the time, right off the bat, whether it been from Warner Brothers to Mill Creek to Rob from Wild Eye to anybody send me a movie. Like I got sent one today by Phil Herman.
Mhm.
He sent me I Slave for Christmas. He asked me to review it. And I said sure. So I'm gonna review it. I mean, it's like okay, why not? I'm gonna be reviewing Bo Batterson's short, which actually got to do.
Mhm.
But when I tell people, I say, I'm not promising you a good interview. I'm not promising you a bad interview. I'm promising you an honest interview. That's all I can
Mhm.
do.
Yep.
And there's movies sometimes I'd watch, and it all depends on the context too.
Yeah.
If it's someone like because we just drop fucking names here. If
Yeah.
it's somebody like Mark Polonia, and we see he has got like 50 films, and like I told you that one time, that one cinema writer was talking about Todd Sheets. He loved Todd Sheets. He's Todd's boy.
Mhm.
He's like a big, but he watched one movie and he blew up. He
Mhm.
blew up. He says, I've been watching Todd's movies for 20 years. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But the guy hasn't learned a goddamn thing since he started making movies. He hasn't done,
Yeah.
he does the thing. And he blew up.
Mhm.
He's entitled to that.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at it is, he's entitled to state that.
Mhm.
Because the guy has 50 movies underneath his belt. He doesn't have two or three where
Right.
people are still learning. I mean, come on. How many people actually catch lightning in the bottle for their very first film?
Very rare. Very
Ve-
rare. Well, and that's kind of uploaded a video today of a fan film from a couple people I know. It's called "Alone Through the Night." It's 9 minute long short, and I know the people personally. I know the guy who directed it. I know the girl that's acting in it, and I said I'd love to discuss your film on my channel. I said, but I don't want you to be upset if I told him constructive criticism because I also told him, I know it's a $200 budget shot on an iPhone, so I know what I'm getting into. But if there's still something that I don't like, I still have to be honest and say it. I did the video. I said I didn't like this. I said you could have improved this way, and they were 100% fine with it because they say they want the constructive criticism.
Right.
There's a difference between saying, "Hey, you could have improved this. You could have fixed the audio here," or just saying, being a dick about it and saying, "Well, this just sucked. This was a garbage movie."
Yeah.
Help each
Don't.
other out. If you don't like their film and air quotes you're a critic now, whether you have a channel or you're just in the comments, how can they improve? Tell them what you didn't like so they can fix it or at least make an attempt to fix it. You know what I mean?
I learned that. I learned that lesson. I'm sitting over here, and I got excited. I've told this story before. I got excited to interview somebody. I asked for an interview, and they said yes. I was so excited about it, and then I watched their movie, and the movie had bumps and bruises,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still relatively new to review, and I was still relatively new. Like I
Okay.
knew a lot more now than I did back then.
Mm-hmm.
Today's me would have handled it a lot differently than what um, but I was, I did an honest review. I said, wow, sort of rough, sort of
Mm-hmm.
rough. And, I got told, like I lost my interview for that.
Yeah,
That happens as part of the game.
it
The
is.
only thing
Yeah.
I was just going to say is whenever, if you do cover a movie, if you do cover a movie, do the review separate. Like I will never have a filmmaker with me like in an interview and going like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna review your movie while you and I are talking. I will never do that
Mm-mm.
because that's not my job. My job when I'm doing an interview is to talk about them and bring them out. I'm not there
Mm-hmm.
to judge and I'm not there to criticize.
Right.
So you either stay neutral or you don't say nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just but a review, fair game.
Absolutely.
Uh, it is. He's making me call him this now. Welcome to the Roughnecks. Here's our good friend Larry. He's one of the Roughnecks now.
Rico's
He got the
Roughnecks.
Rorschach's Roughnecks because he
Yeah.
got to meet Ironside.
That's awesome.
Oh
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah
I'm jealous.
yeah, me too. That's why me too.
I'm
Um,
really jealous.
I
That
he said, I said, did you get a picture with Ironside? And here's this picture of him. Like, oh man,
I've
um,
heard Michael Ironside because I don't know how long he's been doing cons, but I know he's just now started doing them again. And one of my buddies from the horror movie barbecue, he's a huge fan for some reason. God bless him. Of Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2. Like he's like a super fan. He had a T-shirt and a poster, and Michael Ironside was just losing his shit in a good way. He's like, someone likes the movie. It was great. And he wrote like for a good time, call Mary Lou, and then signed Michael Ironside, stuff like that. So that stuff, like I love it when like Michael Ironside isn't like a huge name, air quotes, but we know who he is, type of thing. He's a big name for us. I
big
like it
name.
when you see someone like that still like they don't thumb their nose down at a horror movie they did 30 years ago. You know what I
No.
mean? That's still cool to see that they do that.
It is. I'm with you. I think of Mike Ironside. I think Tony Todd.
Mm-hmm.
I think Keith David. Those kind of actors that like
Look at
maybe
Brad. Look at Brad. Look at Brad Dourif, man. The guy's been in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and he's still riding that Chucky train. And he's retired from acting. The only reason he's still doing Chucky is because his daughter's involved. He doesn't have
well,
to do it.
no. I'm just blown away that his voice is the exact same as it was
Yeah,
when he
it's got to
started.
be. I was surprised it wasn't shredded. Like I saw a recent interview of him taken maybe a couple months ago, and he still sounds the same. You know what I mean?
He might be one of those rare actors. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but for him to have that same type of voice after all these years, he actually might be against type in the fact that like he doesn't smoke because it
Hmm.
seems like 90% of Hollywood smokes,
Right.
and but his voice is so good and so pure. I'm
Hmm.
thinking that guy doesn't smoke, and I bet you anything he gets irritated around people who do.
Oh, I
Because
bet.
bro, I bet you, I'm just thinking that's the type of guy that would probably be like, yeah, you want to vape or smoke outside, don't do it
Hmm.
around me.
Hmm.
Um, which you wouldn't think of because you think of all the movies that Brad Dourif has done, playing bad guys and crazy guys and what have you.
Hmm.
You would think that that would be part of his personality, but you got a feeling that when you listen to that voice, you're going like, nah, I bet he takes really good care of that voice.
Oh yeah, it's his
Really.
moneymaker. It's his
Mm-hmm.
money. He's been doing what Child's Play came out in 86, 87, 88, something like that. And
Yeah.
that it's a very distinct voice, and especially that laugh. You know what I mean? He's still, and you see him. I think he's playing into it, but he's always asked to do the laugh. You always see him roll his eyes. He does it, and then he says, "There, you fucking happy," type of thing. But it's still like he's doing it live right there. The man hasn't lost it, and it's been over 30 plus years.
And I admit I would mark out so hard for Ironside. I would mark out. I get my picture, and I would sit there and say, when he goes to sign it, I would want him to say I either have him say, "Everybody fights, no one quits," or "I kill
Mhm.
you myself," or "Who's that with you? Make it 20 minutes." When he
Yeah,
comes in Rico and Dizzy, says,
I would
"Who's
have.
that,
I
who's
would
that
have.
with you?"
I
Yeah.
would have put, "Here's the beer. Have fun. That's an order." Michael Ironside.
Hell yeah. Uh, uh, or of course the welcome to the Roughnecks too. Welcome to the Roughnecks,
Yeah.
Rorschach's Roughnecks.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see.
Such a fun
I,
freaking movie, dude.
he's great. I mean I really someone was sitting there going like trying to remember the last time you see an Ironside smile in a movie. I'm
That's
thinking to
that's
myself,
that's why I love that scene when he's giving out the beer and he's giving out the football and stuff like that. He's not the soldier. He's he's one of them now. He's off the clock. You know what I mean? And
right?
it shows how human he really is. There's a reason why he's this hard ass, because he's in the shit. He's been in the shit for however many long. We've been at war with the bugs. And but when it's time to party and sit down, he respects his troops and he wants them to have fun. Because remember, these are his students too. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So remember, he was their teacher. So
That scene where they're all standing, and him and Dizzy, and they look up and they see him walking.
mhm.
And it's like, holy shit, there's her teacher.
Yep.
It's like, who would have thought that?
Yep.
Um, let's see. Larry says, Larry said he put everyone who fights quote on his buddy's print. See, you guys, you guys got it. Yep. He was great in Turbo Kid.
Yes.
When is he not great?
He's
What?
great, and he's even great in stupid movies like Major Payne and The Next Karate Kid. He can do anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's a term, I know you're not really that much of a wrestling guy, but The Undertaker would always say this: if you have a good opponent, you can turn a match that's chicken shit into chicken salad, and that's what Michael Ironside can do.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Because I think of the next Karate Kid, and I'm like, man, that movie, and there's Michael Ironside playing the bad guy and going like, hell yeah, it's like, yeah, all right, let's get going.
Hmm.
Then he gets waxed. But
Yeah.
I think the two times I've ever seen him smile, and that was a good little scene in Major Pain. Major Pain, man, that's an interesting movie right there.
Hmm. Yeah, when he's the drunken stepfather, it's a rough
Um,
scene, but
it is a rough scene.
Michael has that face that he just looks at you and he's just so intense. He's got those eyes that like stare like fireballs into you. That's what helps his performances. He like even when he's just relaxing and bullshitting with Ronnie Cox in Total Recall, he's still scary and intimidating. You know what I mean?
Let's see. Joe mentions he was the best part of Heavy Metal 2000.
I haven't seen
Uh,
that in forever.
one of my favorite things with Michael Ironside, and everybody talks about see you at the party, Richter.
Mhm.
But one of the coolest things was there he was in a show called V,
I
and he
know of
played
it. Yep.
he played Ham Tyler. And do you
Mhm.
remember his assistant, his buddy, the big blonde haired kid?
I've
It
never
was
seen V. I
okay.
just know
So
of it.
he had a blonde kid. He's a big heavy set guy. His
Hmm.
muscle, and he was Michael Ironside's assistant. They call him Tiny, right?
Naturally, yeah, of
Oh
course.
yeah. So he and him Tyler was and they're fighting rebels. They're fighting against the visitors in that movie, Total Recall. When they're sitting on the train,
Hmm.
it's Tiny, and he's sitting next to him.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, dude, only us V fans would sit there and go like, "Oh hell yeah!"
That's
We're like, "Oh, we know that," because it's like, "Oh, that's amazing." That's so cool. They did that. Yeah, he brings it to every role. He really does.
yeah.
Um, I mean, as far as him being a good guy, I've only seen him play a good guy maybe like 4 or 5 movies. Sequest 2032.
I know he's in Terminator Salvation. He's working for the human, so I guess he's technically a good guy. But
Right.
he's in that movie 5 minutes. I guess it's more of a cameo. But again, even in Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, he's the reason why she's dead and haunting people. He accidentally kills Mary Lou, so he's always got this villainous quality to him. But he's not a villain in Starship Troopers. You know what I mean?
No, no, he's not. Not at
Yeah.
all. He's a hero.
Hmm.
Uh, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, yeah. Oh, Mr. Dan, remember that scene too from Total Recall.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, no, I mean, unless you were watching, unless you were a diehard of V, that scene would have went right over your head.
Yeah.
But if you were a diehard fan, you saw what they did, and it was very very cool, and very very fun. Yeah. So I'm glad. I'm happy. Larry got to go down there and
Mm-hmm.
get to see Michael Iron. So it's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. We have the thing that it is. So what sort of sucks for me is like Michigan has its Comic Con here this past weekend. They always have it on the weekend of the 20th, and every time, and I don't go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shut down for that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like it sucks on one hand, and it's like no, I'm just quiet for that weekend. But I read up about it, and people talk about it, and I saw some pictures of some cosplayers that were in costumes, some amazing costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think conventions would be just light years ahead of from what when I went to them last.
I've never been to a convention, and I would love to go just to people watch. You know what I mean? I'm the type of guy. You know me. I can't sit still. I can't sit still. So I'm not gonna, as much as we just talked about him, I'm not gonna sit in a line for 5 hours to meet Brad Dorr for 5 minutes. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna people watch and see what you're dressed as, what you're dressed as. Meet these people. Hey, if I can spend $15 and Noah Hathaway wants to sign an 8x10. You know what I mean? Sure, that's fine. But I'm not
Yep.
gonna. I'm not gonna. Even if it's John Carpenter, I'm not gonna go stand in line for 6 hours to have his grumpy ass, charge me $50 for an autograph 8x10. It's not worth
You-
it
the best part about when you go to conventions like that is that you go to the lines that have nobody.
because they
That's
will sit and talk to you.
yes,
They will
yes.
sit and talk to you. Those are the like. Don't get me wrong. I would love to meet Kane Hodder or John Carpenter. Well, not John so much because he really is the grumpy old man. You can tell he does not want to be there. But I would love to go and meet like a Bill Moseley or a Keith David, someone who has stories to tell and wouldn't mind sharing them. You
No,
know.
those are the best.
Mhm,
Watching, like, when I went, I got to hang out with Bernie Kopell for a half hour.
mhm.
I got to hang out with John Saxon and Julie Newmar. They had
Oh
like maybe
wow, really?
yeah, they had like 15 people around them, and that was it. Everybody else was watching all the Star Trek people. I think they had a
Yeah.
lot of the Star Trek people in, so all the lines were for Shatner, and I think
Mhm,
Adam West was there, so there was nobody there.
yeah.
And so, yep. And I fanboyed out for John Saxon. I did.
And
I had him sign my special edition of Enter the Dragon. I had him want a bet
yep,
Roper.
yep, yeah.
That's right.
He
Six.
was a cool dude.
I marked out.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this though, man. I think if you build your interviews up to about 2025,
Mhm.
you'll get a press pass. You just write in and tell them who you are, what you're doing.
I
You'll get a press pass.
The last time I was on your channel and it wasn't the 8 questions, we were just, we'll just talk for 45 minutes and 2.5 hours later. What are the regular streams? I said I was just kind of in a funk and I'm out now. I'm reaching out. I'm getting feelers. I'm getting some more interviews set up. And like I said, someone actually came to me. That's actually cool. That's an actual cool feeling. Excuse me. When someone comes to me and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
would you like to set up an interview?" And they don't know me, but I'm getting the bug in. I'm starting to do research on some future guests and stuff like that, and because I you got to go in at least a little prepared. I mean, my interview style is kind of like yours. It's like really free form, bullet points, and then we go off on tangents type of thing. But I want to at least know who I'm talking about, what they've done, and this and that, because that's the respectful thing to do, and that to me, that's what takes the longest time. You know what I mean? So I'm finally getting a lot of my bullet points for multiple people prepped, and then I'm gonna, pull the trigger and be like, okay, are you available on this date, or this date, and then we'll go from there.
Let's see. Let's see. Jill from the Indie Escape Network mentions that Kane was my first real interview in about 8 years.
Cool.
Great guy. Have had him, Felicia Rose, and Tiffany Shepis on the network and a few times over the years.
They have a
Yeah,
great podcast. They have those three together. They have a great podcast, and they are so entertaining and fun. I didn't know who Tiffany Shepis was until the podcast, and her personality is just through the roof. She's so much
really.
freaking fun, dude. So much freaking fun.
And she carries a massive torch. Her daughter got shot
Yeah.
at a school, and her best
Mm-hmm.
friend died. She saw her best friend die. She got shot,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so she's been a very outspoken advocate for gun
Rightfully so. Yeah.
control. And so yeah, she's amazing. And Felicia has been and it's funny you mentioned Felicia, Joe, because it was because of Felicia that I noticed how things were starting to contract, because this is convention season, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's getting, but I thought Felicia do two podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
She never does that during convention season. I've
Really.
been no, I've been following her ever since I've been doing this, doing the
Mm-hmm.
whole interview thing, not just here but on my blog too. I've been following her, and during this, either she was shooting movies or she's doing conventions. I've never seen her go out of her way to do interviews because
Wow.
she's so damn busy
Mm-hmm.
normally.
Yeah.
But she's done a couple of interviews now. She's done a couple of podcast guests, and that's really unusual. And I'm like, isn't that interesting?
Hmm.
Why is that? And I now, and now suddenly now we're starting to hear about some of these, like people are not shooting in this summer like they normally have.
Maybe the
It,
bubble's finally starting to burst, and I don't know, man. That's kind of scary
it
as,
is
as a
kind
as a movie lover.
I mean, we were talking earlier about talking about the wicked ways of Western County, doing doing our part to help them raise a little bit of money,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, because you think that once you get a movie, once you get a movie made, like
Mm-hmm.
like you should have killed me. That came out to great acclaim. It won a lot of awards. Nice buzz to it. Got a distributing deal for it.
Mm-hmm.
For Bayview Entertainment. A lot of first time directors don't get that. I tried telling that to Michael. It's like, you are way ahead of the game right now. There's a lot of directors that would love to be in your shoes right now, because you got a lot of momentum going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But but he said that when he turned around and all said he went to go ahead and start thinking about doing Western County. Of course, his budget was going to be bigger, but still, I think he thought that getting financing would be a little easier, considering
Mm-hmm.
that his movie was doing so well. But
Yeah.
now he's up there and so like, man, he's done the same thing I mentioned. It's like he's tapped into his little core group of Iowa film people. He's tapped that out. Now he's got to get fresh blood in.
Yep.
And that's what a lot of filmmakers have to do. They've already tapped out the friends or whatever, and their associates, but getting people from outside your area, outside your state, to come
Mm-hmm.
in and donate,
Yeah.
that's going to
You
become
gotta
more and
you
more
gotta
rough.
you gotta get out of your comfort zone, and then you gotta convince somebody to, because it's rough out there. You gotta convince somebody to have faith in you and put that money into your project, so they can get a return.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because you just don't think about it. You just think that get two or three, $3,000-4,000, and the thing is, though, it's like, to me, a lot of independent directors, they do have one thing they could possibly do to make them stand out a little bit, and that is when they make their film, is to make sure they put it on physical. Make
Yes.
sure they got to factor that Blu-ray and that DVD into their budget, because with mainstream studios, not like Hello Barbarian, um, um, with main studios are it's no longer a sure thing that we're going to get a physical release for every single theatrical
Right.
release.
Right.
So the way I think an independent stands out is, you'll get a copy of our movie,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get it. And I think that's a calling card that they should use, because I think a lot of people will gravitate toward that. Like, maybe it's not going to be the best movie, or the people I don't know in there yet, or what have you. But the fact is, they're selling a DVD or a Blu-ray. whereas the people over at Sony or Disney are not.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hang out and support these folks too.
Hmm.
And get something out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, um, let's see. The Indie Network hosted Felicia's panel in Orlando last year. A real sweetheart. Yeah, I love Felicia. I came late to the party.
Hmm.
I didn't see I didn't see, I didn't see a Felicia Rose movie till earlier this year.
Really? Any of
So
it? Well, she, not to knock her. I mean, her biggest role is Sleepaway Camp, and I saw that for the first time within the last handful of years. So, I mean, and of course, it's mainly known for its ending. I already knew that, and so it didn't really have an impact on me. But I've seen her she's in the fourth Hatchet movie, the one that's just called Victor Crowley. She's the best character in that movie because she's so freaking funny as the publicist. And she's in Terrifier 2, which I'm not going to discuss, but uh she's always fun. She's got this fun, bubbly personality, and it comes out in her work. That's what I love about her.
Art the Clown is an icon. Art the Clown loves cats. And I'll talk about that with anybody. That's what makes Art the Clown so cool. Sure, he chops somebody in half. Okay, things happen. Nobody's perfect, but he loves cats, and he loves dogs. He is a dog and cat lover. The character Art is a dog and cat lover,
I
and that's
have not. I've got nothing against the art character himself because I love the actor. I thought the first movie was fine. I couldn't finish the second one. I honestly I was bored because it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know me. I love my gore. I love my violence and my slashes, but that's all it was, and it just. I've seen it. I'm done. I'm already at an hour and a half. I still have an hour to go. Goodbye.
good.
So
Um, I talked to you a little bit. I've been telling people about this movie, and I got my sister with it too. Got my sister with it. So I've been telling everybody about this new movie called The Coffee Table. So it
okay.
came out Cinephobia releasing, and I saw it last year. I got a screener from Ray Murray who owns Cinephobia. Not name dropping, just telling you like I saw the screener last year before it came
Okay.
out. And man, I've seen hundreds of horror movies. I've seen them. Like I said, I saw Dawn of the Dead when I was 14 years old and saw
Hmm.
people run up the theater.
Yeah.
16. So I'm pretty hardcore. I'm not desensitized to horror, but
Right.
I can handle it.
Hmm.
Man, that movie fucked my ass up.
Really?
Yeah, it had me, I'm sitting there going, man, I think I'm going to get sick.
Hmm.
So, I'm like, okay, maybe that was just me. Maybe I'm just overreacting to it. So I got a hard copy of The Coffee Table,
Hmm.
and I got it here at home. I sat down and I watched it, and I'm going like, no, I wasn't overreacting. That movie, that movie fucked me up all over again. I'm sitting there going like, so here's the pros and cons about this movie.
Hmm.
The the pros is this: it's an excellent movie. It is it's it's a thriller. It's a nightmare. It's
Hmm.
nightmare fuel. It is
Okay.
an amazing movie. It's the best movie of the year. It is hands down the best movie of 2024.
Okay.
But I can't watch it again.
It's
I
one of
can't watch it.
those.
I can't watch it again. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I put my review out there and I'm like, okay, I'm like, just be, I'm telling you now, this is a great movie and it's my movie of the year, but be careful in watching it. My sister says, I'll be the judge of that.
Oh Lord.
So she goes and watches the movie, and she comes back there. She says, okay, you did tell me, you did warn me. I says that movie fucked me up.
No one to blame but yourself, sis.
I tried telling you. I'm like,
Yeah.
I tried telling you. I mean, I wouldn't do that. Just it's not hyperboil, but I did say that it's one of those that it will set up camp and stay
Hmm.
there. Um,
Yeah.
like that movie Mimic did, or not Mimic, but Relic, the movie Relic, that
Uh,
from 2020.
oh,
Um,
from 2020. Okay. I thought you were talking about the one from the 90s.
no, so when, Horrific Nightmares JM, he
Hmm.
watched that movie. He says, because I said, did you see Relic? Because it was at the theater during the pandemic. Did you go check it out? And he goes, yeah, I watched it. I says, well, how was it? It's really good, but it really screwed with me,
Oh
really.
wow.
And I'm like, okay, now I got to see that movie because Jason. I mean, I respect that guy. That guy's voice from here till forever.
Hmm.
And if he says a movie got into him like that, I want to see it.
Hmm.
And I think that's what happened to my sister. I think my sister saw that with me. Says, "Wow, my brother sees everything." So if he's sitting there saying, "Yeah, I don't think you really want to see this," I got to go see it.
I gotta see what the big deal is. Yeah.
So, well, she did. She saw it, and yeah, she said I wasn't kidding. It's like I don't think I could see that movie ever again. It's like, no, I understand that.
Hmm.
I truly understand that.
Absolutely.
Um, Now, have you ever seen a movie like that? I mean, I mean, it's been every one of those movies where it's just like, I'm talking about a good movie, not talking about, like Wheezy Shark or anything like that. Oh, good.
Honestly, Darren Aronofsky films leave something like that to me. Like Requiem for a Dream is a fantastic movie. Uh, from beginning to end, the way it looks, the way it's shot, the acting, the soundtrack. But that if that movie doesn't leave an imprint on you with at least one of those characters' fates by the end of that film, I don't know what to say about you because that one I wouldn't say it fucked me up, but I'm like, ooh, that was a rough one, but it's
Yeah,
so good. So that's one I will go back to it, but man, it's gonna be a long time in between
it's a
viewings for that one.
it's a powerful it's almost like a PSA,
Hmm.
anti-drug PSA.
Yeah.
And what's funny, you and I talked about PSAs before,
Hmm.
and they did this one for partner for Drug Free America, where one of these, they had a crew and they went to New York,
Hmm.
and they actually did a long form commercial, and they interviewed this guy. He was a heroin addict, and they're interviewing him, and he's talking about about his about his addiction, about he's where he shoots at, and oh, it's just like, I got pus coming out of this holes here. They thought they were gonna amputate my foot, and he's just talking about his addiction. And he's like,
Yeah.
and it was just so. I mean, it's so disgusting. It's so like,
Yeah.
oh, I do. It's like I do. I would never, ever, ever put myself in that position. It was
Hmm.
a great commercial. Great PSA. Like, and at the end of it says heroin. You want some?
Yeah.
Because it's like
They
you're going like, hell no.
yeah, they try to it's when it's like Scared Straight, when they would have to bring the troubled kids to the prisons, or they would have them sent to military camp and stuff like that, and they try to scare them and tell them how the reality is going to be if you go down this path. Sometimes it works, and
Yeah,
sadly, sometimes it doesn't.
man. Um,
So,
Railway Prison. They had it on PBS. Remember that?
hmm.
I don't know if you saw this now, but they had that at Rawway. This is before cable TV, before MSNBC and whatnot, and PBS. They aired it on PBS. The Scare Straight into Rawway. Honest to God, I didn't think you would ever see anybody come back.
Hmm.
Seriously, you're just going like, oh yeah, all these kids they're getting scared shitless.
Hmm.
But afterwards you hear within a year, like maybe out of 20, there'd be like three or four that would be knuckleheads. But
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
17 walking that straight and narrow.
Yep.
You
They knew
know,
better. They knew
yeah.
better.
I always had respect for those prisoners that did that.
Hmm.
Even the ones that had the violence,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
here they are, they're trying to give it back. They're trying to,
Don't
look,
don't be like me. I'm your future. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I'm here for life. My life is, a 5 by 5 cell by myself. The only contact I have is when the guard gives me my food, you know,
right.
and that you'll be me if you keep down this path. Some people, some kids are like, whatever. But you know what? Some kids do have that epiphany, and they realize it. Okay, so that there is good to it.
I want to say hi to Dominic.
Hey, Dominic.
Welcome in.
Yep.
And Mr. Dan Hoare mentions, remember the anti-smoking ad Yul Brynner made that was released after his death? Yes. Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was one of the most heartbreaking ones. He was just don't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had one I knew about. They had two. One, they had the band Everclear on there.
Did they?
Yes. Art Alexis, who was the lead singer for the band. I met Art. I had booked Art's band. He had a band called Colorfinger.
Okay.
And they were based in San Francisco, and great band. And it looked like they were gonna come down to San Jose and play a showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And the day of their showcase, they didn't show up.
Really?
No. Art had been fighting for his sobriety, and his bandmates just weren't along with it.
That's
And
too bad. You got to have that support. It makes me think about, recently Bill Maher kind of made the news because Steve-O, from Jackass, he's 100% sober and he wants to keep that sobriety. Well, Bill Maher has his podcast, and his gimmick on his podcast is he smokes weed during the podcast and interviews people. And Steve-O asked if Bill could not do it for his episode, so Steve-O wouldn't have to be around any type of drugs at all. And Bill said no. I said, I was thinking, so you pompous asshole. Like, you can't stop smoking weed for a 2-hour interview because a guy is asking you, not because it annoys him, but because it's for his sobriety. Like, what kind of prick are you to tell someone no for that?
Wow.
So I think so. Steve-O didn't do the show, but you know what I mean. You gotta be some type of an ass to say no because that's the reason he wanted to give. You know what I mean?
Man, that's really rude.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Betty saying that she is not watching these new horror movies. Well, it's just about a coffee table.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
It's a haunted table. It's
yeah.
Hey Stephen, how are you? Promoter network ace Stephen Chang here. I don't call myself a guru, just an ace. As I sink or swim or go big and go home. Stephen himself went down the Texas Frightmare.
Oh, really?
He got to meet Christy Adams.
Okay.
The owner of Nightmare Toys, who will be here. He'll be here on. Actually, they'll be here tomorrow.
Nice.
Christy will be here. Yeah, Christy will be here tomorrow.
Very cool.
And, so got a lot of really. God, she's tiny.
Is she really?
Tiny. She is. She's like. I think she's like. She might be 5 feet, maybe.
Wow.
She photographs taller.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see her in pictures with people, she's a pixie.
Yeah.
Which is really cute because she's really cute. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna be talking about new toys tomorrow. Now, are you still collecting? Were you ever a collector? I mean, you had a few collectibles.
I used to collect like the movie Maniacs, that Todd McFarlane had in like the early 2000s, and I'm in the process of selling them now because they're just collecting dust. You know what I mean? But I do have. I showed you in a private stream or whatever we were talking one day. I think it was after our talk for 45 minutes, and it's 2 hours later type of stream, and I was showing you one of my. Let's see here. These little figurines that my friend Charlie makes, and he molds them. Like you can see here, this is Mothra, and he made this out of a mold, and he hand painted it and stuff like that. He's done a bunch of kaiju stuff. I just got it's in the other room. Let's see, I can show you some stuff. I just got like the American Werewolf in New York, or excuse me, the American Werewolf in London one. Like he made that. I've got a bunch of Friday the 13th stuff that he makes. He is a really cool guy. Like here, what do we got here?
I still can't believe that.
Like we got something from Fright. We got a werewolf from. We got Evil Ed from
Evil
Fright
Ed.
Night when he was turned into his werewolf form, and right there you can see he's stabbed in the heart.
Poor Ed.
And he's going to be. I talked to Charlie. He's actually going to be one of my interviews coming soon,
Oh,
and it's nice to have him on because he's not a YouTuber. You know what I mean? It's something different. I'm getting out of the YouTube or the wrestling type of circle, I guess you would say. And he is, I mean, he's a big fan of horror. So obviously we're going to talk about horror, but we're going to talk about the process. Like, look at this. Like this has got some size to it. And just the detail in Mothra, the colors. Look at that.
it's very
And
really cool.
it's you know what I mean? It's made out of a mold. We're going to go through his process and stuff like that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. But so that's pretty much the only thing I collect now. I mean, I collect magnets. Magnets are fun,
Right.
horror movie related magnets, but it's nothing as extravagant as it used to be because you collect physical media, you run out of space
You know
eventually.
what? Everything I've gotten, just about, I think I've only bought one thing of all the stuff on my shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else has been given to me, but I bought one thing. I bought a Jet Jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
But I do got to share this though, because this is funny as hell. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading the reports coming in from cons, right?
Uh-huh.
They're man, they laid waste to Kevin Costner's movie. Holy
Really?
shit! Yeah, they said that movie is as self-indulgent as you can imagine, and it goes nowhere.
Well,
I was like, wow, that's so heartbreaking to hear.
mm-hmm.
But and then Martin Scorsese, he did a movie that he pretty much financed himself, $85 million,
Mm-hmm.
and he calls it Mega Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, there's a there's a it's set on alternative Earth, and in it, in like New York is called New Rome, and the key element that everybody's looking for in that world is called Megalon.
Mm-hmm.
I fell out of my chair when I read that. I'm like,
That's interesting for Scorsese. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So.
I'm going Megalon, man. Maybe someone needs to send him. Maybe someone needs to send him Megalon.
Mm-hmm.
Let him know what Megalon really is. He's not a. It's not a building foundation. It's a fucking kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla
Yeah.
fought him with Jet
Yeah.
Jaguar. It's like when you read something like that, right? And you start wow, you're reading the synopsis of the movie, and then all of a sudden it comes off, yeah, everybody's fighting for an element called Megalon, and you lose it. You just
Mm-hmm.
fucking get the movie, you're done. It's like you're already laughing. You haven't even seen the movie, but you're gonna sit down and watch it, knowing that they're gonna be fighting for Megalon. It's just like, you're expecting that big giant ass cockroach to come out of the earth. Come on,
Yeah.
Scorsese, do it.
Yeah.
Where's Mothra at? It's like you're waiting for that to happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
Meg, who told like no one thought about telling Martin Scorsese, like, yeah, that stuff you got with that Megalon.
But then again, Scorsese might not even know that exists because that whole uproar, whatever it was, when he said Marvel movies aren't cinema. That's just not his thing. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, it's true. There is a difference between cinema and a shoot 'em up comic book movie. People weren't getting his point of view. Instead, they were just in an uproar because. And then again, it's also Martin Scorsese. I think he's been around long enough, and he has, he's got the back catalog to pretty much be able to say whatever he wants when it comes to filmmaking, and at least have a very respectable opinion.
I respect his opinion at all. I believe me, when I read about Megalon, I was sitting there going, thank you, Martin Scorsese, because I'm gonna be running with this forever. This you just gave me fuel forever. I want to see your movie now. So like when they hand over Megalon to somebody else, I can sit there and say, what the hell is that? That's not Megalon. And then people will look at me in the theater and wonder, the guy lose his mind.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it? Oh yeah, I told my friend that once. I said, my buddy Catfish and him and I were going to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
And we had heard that that a character from the original books, the comic books, a character called Starhawk, was going to be in the movie.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm just sitting there, okay, I'm not really holding my breath out for a Starhawk, especially played by Sylvester Stallone. I'm going like, but when we saw really what it was,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to stand up. I was on my way. He's a strong guy. He's like, I'm standing up like this. He's trying to hold me down because I was going to cut loose. Like, what the? Oh, I was so pissed.
I remember you've said that you're not a big fan of the Guardians movies, but that's because you've read the source material.
Yeah.
See, I have not. I think that could be why I enjoy them so much, is because I haven't read the source material. So I don't have the compare and contrast.
But just imagine like taking your favorite movie, take your favorite movie and or your favorite book, and like, to me, what kills me when I see people take books and then they come out with the movie adaptation, and it's nothing like the books, and you're going like, why the hell did you get the book again for the first place?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you like the book for what it was when you bought it, then why aren't you staying true to it?
Well,
I don't understand that.
It's like the whole Stanley Kubrick The Shining situation. You know what I mean? I absolutely love the book. I do enjoy the movie for what it is, but it's so different. And you could tell Kubrick didn't give a shit about the source material.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bash him as a filmmaker because he can make great movies, but it's not The Shining. You know what I mean? So, but then again, God bless him. I love me some Mick Garris. When Mick Garris made The Shining, it was The Shining, but that was a big stumble in my opinion.
I just found that. I'm like, well, that's a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what I picked up this Tuesday in my library hall?
No, I missed it.
Oh man, let me show you what I got.
Sure. Now, I no, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy Mick Garris's The Shining, but it's a big fall, I guess you'd say, again, from the source material. But then again, it's also a TV miniseries budget, and that's its fault. You can't really do much with, especially back in the late '90s, with what they had for budgets for miniseries.
So going to the library every week. Mm-hmm. And it's like always an adventure. You just never know what you're going to run across.
Hey, Hobbs. Yeah.
Now Hobbs is in the house.
Yep.
So I go there every Tuesday. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes once in a while there's nothing there.
Okay.
But once in a blue moon, you'll see something there going like, oh, hell to the yes.
Okay.
And for me, I picked up the 3rd season of Highlander.
I haven't seen that show in forever, dude. Oh, man. Look at that. Hey, that looks nice, too.
It is. It's in great shape. It's in perfect shape. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I got it almost, honestly, because it was bag sale, right? So that's where you fill up your bag with stuff and you pay for $6.
Yeah.
I bought a lot of books. I bought because hardbacks are like $1, paperbacks are 50 cents normally. Yeah. And I stacked up maybe like $8 or $9 of books that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically got this for free.
That's right. And you could tell that was probably owned by a collector that just was probably trying to downsize their home. You know what I mean? Which happens. And because I've done that with a lot of my VHSs and stuff like that, because not too many of my friends have VCRs anymore. It's just a select few. And I gave, God bless her, I gave Jennifer Tochi my Naked Gun trilogy. And you know me, I'm so anal retentive with the way my stuff is handled and cared for. It was like perfect condition. It was the Naked Gun trilogy VHS, and it made her night. You know what I mean? And that's what I love to do. To give stuff to people that I don't need this anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. Like my movie Maniacs, no one's getting those for free. But it's the Naked Gun. It's for Jennifer. Give it to her, type of thing. Yeah. But you could tell that Highlander set was probably a collector, because if it's in that good pristine condition and it's in a library, no offense to libraries, but people don't care for the books very well or the product.
No.
He probably cared for that really well, and then just I don't need it anymore.
I'm actually hoping, honestly, Eric. I'm actually hoping that this there will be more of them coming next week,
Hmm.
because I was thinking the same thing. I'm going like, whoever had that was a collector,
Yep.
and I just can't see just them just donating just the one.
Hmm.
They being a collector, they probably donate them more. I
Yeah.
am really hoping that next week I will get some more of this from the same
Hmm.
collector. I'm hoping they donate it
You'd be
because,
surprised what you can find, man.
well, I got two of the six seasons now. I guess I've had season two for a while. I've had that for quite a while. Then I got this, and I was just like so excited. I'm like, man, this is great.
Hmm.
'Cause I don't really get to see that to come across. And then I got a Disney movie that I had never heard of before, Tower of Terror with Kristen Dunst and Steve Guttenberg.
No,
Never heard of that movie.
never heard of that
Never,
one.
not a one, not a peep out of that. And then I got a Kino Lorber, um, about a artist, Tom of Finland.
Hmm.
I guess he helped create the term Leatherman. It's
Okay.
it's alternative, but I mean it's Kino Lorber. It's a documentary.
I like
I got
Kino Lorber a lot.
I like Kino Lorber a lot too, and they bought art exploitation movies. And we were just talking about that. We were just talking about that yesterday with Chris Alexander. Did you get a chance to watch that yet? You got to watch that one.
I will. I've been so busy. Like, I don't even have time for my own channel sometimes, man. I'm just so busy with life and work right now. By the time I get home from work, I take my nap, and by the time I get up, if I don't have a stream to do for a friend, I'm just like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And then 2 weeks later. That's why I've kind of sort of been doing shorts more lately, because I can talk for a minute. You know what I mean? But I'm
Right.
gonna check out your interview. Um,
Yeah, that was a Grail one. I've been trying to get to talk to Chris forever and a day, so it was a real honor to talk to him.
yeah.
And that guy helped shape my fanhood. As far as becoming a fan.
Hmm.
I read a lot of what he wrote when he was in Fangoria. I mean, I've been a Fango fan since the '80s.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, to me, the Fango golden age of Fangoria happened underneath the Chris's watch,
Hmm.
when the magazine was the best it ever was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kino. I don't know how I found out about Kino Lorber. Maybe I got one of them, pamphlets in the mail or something like that. But what I like about them, I've gotten a lot of movies that I love that no one ever talks about through Kino. Stone Cold. They released a special edition of Stone Cold on Blu-ray. I snagged that up. Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. That's a fun action flick. Or I've even got an Oscar. That Sylvester Stallone Italian mob comedy movie. That
Yeah,
one's
that
a
was
lot
pretty
of fun.
entertaining.
Yeah.
That was very entertaining. I
Hmm.
know a lot of people crapped on that movie, but I thought that movie was really fun.
I thought it was a lot of fun. And again, it's Kino has, they have a lot of those diamonds in the roughs, or however you pronounce that saying, a lot. And I'm always on the lookout for them. Just, hey, I haven't seen that movie in 20 years. I remember loving it. I'll take a chance. You know what I mean? Just the fact that they're finding a lot of these obscure movies. Who knows about Blind Fury unless you're like a cinephile like us or a lot of the people in the chat. No one brings up Blind Fury when you talk about Rutger Hauer. It's always Blade Runner. You know what I mean? Or The
Right.
Hitcher or something like
For the
that.
hit, yep. For me, it's Soldier of Orange. That's the
I've never
first
heard of
movie I
that
ever
one.
saw. Yeah, that's the first movie I ever saw Hauer in. He was
Okay.
fantastic. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It's moving as hell.
He's good in everything, whether it's Blind Fury, something like Blind Fury, or was it? I think he was the villain in Nighthawks with Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone and Billy D. Williams, or even one of his last movies, Hobo with a Shotgun. I love that movie, and he is fantastic. You got to be in the right mood for it. Like
Right.
it's trauma esque, but he is fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, God Almighty. I mean, they must have. I think they must have thought people were going to be going crazy for that movie. They must have printed up, I don't know how many, because for even today, I still go inside of a Dollar Tree and there'll still be a hobo with a shotgun staring back at me.
It's
They're
a it's a fun movie. I'm only speaking for myself because you know me, I like my trash, but it's a lot of fun just because it's a callback to those '70s exploitive grindhouse type of films. You do feel dirty watching it, but he is so much fun, just with his one-liners. He's going after one of these gangbangers, and he says like, "I'm gonna cut my welfare checks out of your skin," or something stupid like that. So you know what you're getting into, and it's a lot of fun, but it's it's not for everybody. But that just
No.
shows, he could do Blind Fury, he could do Hobo with a Shotgun, or he could fucking be the villain, the main vampire in Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Christy
Or,
Swanson.
or, or he could be the corrupt priest in Sin City.
Exactly. So that man was that was a huge loss for Hollywood for film when
Yeah,
he passed.
I agree. Ruck Hour is one of the very best.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. What about? I mean, you don't see anymore, but we're seeing it now,
Hmm.
and this is such a rare thing now. Hollywood always used to do a really great job. Steven said he watched Blind Fury for Meg Foster.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm not saying anything out of line here because I adore Meg Foster.
Hmm.
Yeah, but boy, she was. I feel sorry for her. I was reading this article about her. They had done Cagney and Lacey,
Hmm.
and they had done a pilot with a different actress and Tyne Daly,
Hmm.
and the other actress had another show to do. So they recast it and they cast Meg Foster in for the first season of Cagney and Lacey.
Okay, I didn't know that.
13 episodes. She was perfect, because Tyne Daly played the housewife with the kids, the blue collar cop,
Hmm.
and then Meg Foster, and it was a more glamorous one, dressed up
Hmm.
to the
Of
dressed up,
course.
so they made a really good pair. And but after the first season, they let Meg Foster go, and they brought in Sharon Gless, which was like a horrible decision. Um, and Meg Foster really never recovered from that. Her
Well,
career
I
never
don't,
really ended.
maybe from mainstream, but she's got her fan base. Like Steven is saying in the chat, it could be something from They Live or Blind Fury. Say what you want. She is so sexy and so evil as Evil Lynn in that cheesy ass Masters of the Universe movie. Or what there's it's not, and like Steven's saying, she doesn't want to be just known for her eyes. She is she's one of those people that just has, and I'm not trying to sound sexist, but she's just got that aura of sexy to her, just with her voice too. And
Mhm.
she has these chiseled features and she's just elegant. So I like seeing her in those movies where she's just like the mom in Blind Fury, where she's sadly killed in 5 minutes. Or go down to, I'm not praising the movie, I'm not a fan of it. Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem, when she's the leader of the witch cult, and I she's one of the most evil bitches I've seen on film.
Yeah,
And she's good in it. Say what you want about the movie itself as a whole. She's great in it. But then she turns around and she's one of my favorite characters in Rob's next movie, 31. And she is so
right.
good. And again, she's now just known as the chick with the eyes. You know what I mean? Which is sad, but she is so good and underrated now because she's just the chick with the eyes. You know what I mean?
You know, after I read about that, let's see, Mr. Dan mentioned great in Shrunken Heads,
I've never heard of that.
and I know she also did Jeepers Creepers Reborn. I'm not sure how she was in that, but I saw some recent pictures. Like I know she's in her 70s now,
Mm.
but I just looked at her, man. I felt bad. I felt really bad because it didn't look like she looked rough. She looked like
Yeah,
she had
yeah. In my older days, I guess you'd say I was kind of mean with the ways I would say. I'm not going to repeat what I've said, like the way she's aged now. But you know what? It is what it is. I will still love that woman to the end of days. Kind of like Adrienne Barbeau. Oh
yeah.
God. And not just for her chest. I mean, Adrienne Barbeau had that classic beauty as well. And
Oh,
she's now starting to age, but again, 78 years old. What do people
right,
expect?
yeah, right, yeah.
What
You're
do
not gonna,
people expect?
yeah, you're not gonna get Jane Fonda from everybody.
We're not
Adrian
all,
Barbeau.
you're not going to all be like Ernie Hudson in your 70s and look like you're still in your early 30s.
Yeah,
You know what
what's
I
up
mean?
with that? Yeah, I heard that. I heard that he's like 79 or 80. He
Yeah.
looks like he's 50 or 40.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's yeah, he's in phenomenal shape.
Oh, yeah.
And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Meg Foster did a Highlanders episode or two.
She
If
may
I'm not
have.
mistaken. Yeah. Why don't I know that Elizabeth Grayson played Raven, and
Mm-hmm.
she was a former I think she was a former Miss USA or Miss America, and
Mm-hmm.
then she became an actress and did Raven. Let's see. But I watched Raven Woods for Meg Foster. Yeah, you know what? Look, think of how many movies that we watch are influenced on the cover about who's in it.
Mm-hmm. It's a
I mean,
selling point, man.
definitely. Definitely. It was sort of funny too because before one of the non-selling points, and speaking of that, we're talking about actors and aging and everything else. Like, I watched the movie this for Dollar Theater. I watched Dead Again and Tombstone,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were
and
telling me about that. I haven't watched that
yeah.
video. I got it in my watch later section.
So Danny Trejo, he's been a character actor all his career.
Mm-hmm.
Until, thank God for Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And Robert Rodriguez said, "You know what? I can make you into a leading man," and he did.
Yep.
He did it with the Machete movies. And
Yep.
not only was Danny Trejo the lead actor, but he even got the girl.
Yep.
He got the girl.
Yep.
It was like, yeah. I
He
mean,
didn't just get the girl. That girl was Jessica Alba.
you lucky son of a bitch. And I want to, like, yeah, go get him.
Have you ever seen that documentary on Danny's life? I think it's called like Inmate Number 2 or something like that. It's really good, really powerful, talking about where he started. He's in and out of prison, selling drugs, riots, this and that, and then he just started. He's called Inmate Number 2. I might be wrong on the title, but it's something like that because he was always the guy in jail. You know what I mean? He's always the gangbanger. He's always the guy, dealing drugs. He's always the guy getting killed until Robert pretty much found him for Desperado. You know what I mean? And then he put him in From Dusk Till Dawn, and then he Spy Kids, and then it just snowballs from that. Now look at Danny. Danny is one of the scariest looking dudes in the world. That dude was born looking like a 70-year-old mean guy. You know what I mean? But now he's just that guy you want to walk up and give a hug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's doing these animal rights commercials where he's dressed up like a dog. You know what I mean? He looks, he's Machete because he's this macho Latino man, right? He doesn't give two shits about his reputation. He's not afraid of being a goofy ass or anything like that. He's got a taco stand. He's got a donut stand, stuff like that. He's just one of those guys that proves that he can be the complete opposite of the character he plays, because he always plays these scumbags or these badasses that will kill you in a second. And he's just, I hate saying this, he's just a grandpa that you want to go and have a beer with and then give a hug. You know what I mean? And I can appreciate that.
You see him on screen. You see him on screen, and he's still carrying that weight. Like, like he did he got the lead. He got the lead in Machete. He got the lead in that. And then he got the lead in the Tombstone series. And there's one more series that he got the lead in.
The badass movies.
The badass movies with him and Danny Glover.
Yes.
And he was the lead actor in that. And all I can say when I saw him be the lead was, it's about damn time.
Mm-hmm.
And more power to him.
Oh yeah.
He's
got the charisma. You know what I mean? And it sucks because, when he started, he was just starting off. He didn't really have the acting chops, and he, just for his look, he wasn't going to play anything but the gangbanger or the criminal. And it's nice seeing him play, Machete and stuff like that. But also, like, he's the goofy grandpa in Spy Kids. He's not afraid to play against type because he doesn't care. Like, he's in one of the Daddy Daycare movies, I think, or I think it's called like Grandpa Daycare or some bullshit like that. But it's Danny Trejo in those, playing against type, because you know what? It's a paycheck. He doesn't care, and he's not afraid of his image. That's what I can respect about him.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's had his fun. He gets his rate. He's in constant demand. I mean, that guy doesn't. He If anything, he says no to work because he's got so much.
Yeah.
Everybody wants Danny Trejo, and it's like Eric Roberts, the same thing. Eric Roberts will do anything for anybody.
Like Samuel L.
And-
Jackson says, he never says no. He says it's a
yeah,
job. I'm an
yeah.
actor. I want to act.
And as you get older, that's the fear too. That as you get older, that pretty soon the phone's going to stop ringing altogether
Yep.
because now they all going younger.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that Hollywood, like I actually got the first movie Danny Trejo ever was in, and it wasn't the Runaway Train either. That might have been his first speaking role, but
Mm-hmm.
the first movie he ever did was a movie called Bailout, and it was with Linda Blair and David Hasselhoff,
Oh, wow. Of all people. Wow.
and I reviewed it.
Okay. I'm going to look for that. Nothing against Linda Blair, but just David Hasselhoff. I'm sure he probably got top billing over Linda, which, I don't think that should happen. But
No,
just those three in a movie alone, even if Danny's not on the screen with the other two, I'm very curious. That's a selling point when it comes to movies. Just one of those, you know, those the brakes screech, like you're walking through the aisle. Linda
yes.
Blair and David Hasselhoff. And, all right.
Well, Linda Blair would have me to put the brakes on. I don't know about so much about the Hoff, but
No, I don't
definitely
like
Linda
David
Blair.
Hasselhoff.
David. I mean, Linda Blair. I would definitely put the brakes on for to see what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was mentioning how one thing we don't ever really see in Hollywood anymore is the old-fashioned star maker. Star making. Like these movies are being made to create stars very carefully. Put them in this movie here, then he goes here, and then he does here. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, it's like it's methodical. It's thought.
Mm-hmm.
There's some thought going behind it to create a star.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're seeing that. We haven't seen that in forever, but I think
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing it now. And I think with a gentleman who I think is going to have a really bright future. I mean, really going to pop off, and that is Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. He's doing the new movie coming out next weekend called Hitman, but he
Okay.
was in Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
He was the guy that saved Rooster and Maverick. He was the guy who shot down the last enemy plane.
Okay.
He also did that romantic comedy with the was it Sydney
Sydney
Sylvia
Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. So they're building. I'm just watching him. I'm watching them putting him together. All these correct parts. I mean, it's a star maker. You
Mm-hmm.
just see him go up with everything he's doing. It's more and more bigger and better.
See, that's what I like. We were talking offline. Honestly, I don't remember who we were talking about. Someone who isn't afraid to talk about their horror cred. It's like when you find someone like a Kevin Bacon, when he started in something like Animal House, and then he's doing an indie movie like the original Friday the 13th, which didn't, no one gave a shit about that movie then. And
No.
then he did quite a few flops. And then he did, his breakout star role in Footloose, but then he did Tremors, and you see that gradual rise. You know what I mean? Tom Hanks of all people, look at him compared to now. When he started out doing a slasher movie, he was in it 5 minutes, doesn't count. But then he was doing all these comedies like Bachelor Party, Turner and Hooch, The Burbs. And now that guy, even if you take out the Toy Story movies, he's a 2-time Academy Award winner, never has to work another day in his life. But you see back to where he came from, you know what I mean? You wouldn't think that this guy that, he won 2 Oscars, one playing a man who passed away from HIV.
Rob the third. Rob from the third one.
Mm-hmm. And then what was the third one? The third one was Apollo 13, wasn't it?
Well, I think he might have won for that one, but he should have won for Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, but like I said, you compare it to the dramatic stuff now that he's known for. Like he can pick and choose. What was that one? He just did the. I'm going to look it up right now because it was really good. But you compare him now to Bachelor Party. It's not the same guy,
Oh
but
God.
it's cool seeing his, his rise.
Yeah. I mean, you see him doing all those romantic comedies with Meg Ryan. Restless in
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, and
Yep.
you got Mail. I mean, yeah. His career has been very. I mean, I mean, there's been a couple of misfires, which I
Right.
personally didn't mind. I mean, like Larry Crown. I know that I read a story once where he was getting gas, and this elderly couple came up there, and they walked over to him. They said they saw Larry Crown. And they said it wasn't one of your better movies. It wasn't very good, and he gave them the money back for their tickets. But I thought that
uh,
was wrong though, because
man
I
called A Man Called Otto was the
yeah,
movie I saw.
yeah.
It's like a handful of years old, but you know, I again, Tom Hanks, he's allowed to make a stinker. You know what I mean? I mean,
I,
look at his track record.
I don't think really overall. I don't really think that he's ever. I've heard that. I heard that he probably struggled a little bit in Elvis,
Hmm.
but otherwise that I really have never heard anybody come out there and say that he's ever give a really bad performance.
His performances are usually always good, but you know, he's still entitled to make a bad movie. You know what I mean?
So,
It's
um,
Tom Hanks. What are you gonna do? Whoop
yeah,
sue him? You think he
no,
cares? You think he cares? No. He's
no,
acting because he likes to act. That's
yeah.
it.
I mean, he's produced three of the most important series within the last 20 years. He did a Band of Brothers, he did the
Mm-hmm.
Pacific, and he
Mm-hmm.
did now the Masters of Air.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he also did Greyhound. That I wish he would have done the other movie he was supposed to do. He was supposed to do the movie about the USS Laffey.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I was hoping he would do. That was set in World War II as well in the Pacific.
Okay.
And the USS Laffey was a destroyer, and it was attacked by 70 kamikaze planes,
Okay.
and it fought them all off. And we were hoping that he was, they said he was gonna play the captain of the Laffey. I wish he had, because that story is absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Julius Beckton was the captain of the Laffey, and he saved the ship after being hit like 9 times.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
look
an
into
it's
it.
an it's an insane story.
Mm-hmm.
But that was that he said he was going to do that movie, but then he turned around and then he did Greyhound instead, which wasn't bad, but it was too
Mm-hmm.
CGI heavy for me.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I watched. I hated about it was like it was too CGI. It's like, yeah, that sort of suffered. It suffered from that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now I guess people are going out today. They're talking. Before we came on, I was telling you how I overheard that they're going to be making the Munsters. James Wan wants to make the Munsters into a dark territory.
Was it James Wan though? I don't know if it was James Wan or not. But either way, I saw the post, and that's not the point. You know what I mean? Even Rob Zombie knew you don't make the monsters dark. You know, he had his own goofy ass spin on it. You know what I mean? He made it a prequel, and it was a
How was
Rob
it?
Zombie. It was a 90-minute Rob Zombie music video. I really enjoyed it. My daughter loved it. I don't give a shit what everyone's. I personally think I've said it before. I think people like to hate on Rob just because it's the fucking thing to do. You know what I mean? Let it go. He remade 2 Halloween movies. There are worse movies in the Halloween franchise than Rob's. Okay, and
Yes,
and
without a
uh
doubt.
and the thing is, it's even he knew it's not supposed to be dark. The point of the monsters is you have all these classic monsters. You have, Dracula. You have another female vampire. You got a little wolf man in Eddie. You got the Frankenstein monster. You got all their extended family. But the point is, they're a bunch of dorks. You know what I mean? It's lighthearted. You know, God bless him, Fred Gwynn as Herman. Herman was an idiot, but he was a
Yes,
lovable idiot, and you could kind of relate to him because he was also the everyday blue collar working man. He's just, the Frankenstein monster. You had the asshole father-in-law
grandpa,
in
grandpa.
Grandpa. You had the rambunctious little boy in Eddie. You had the, for more reasons than one, but now she's the outsider in Maryland. You know what I mean? That's the point. It was Leave It to Beaver with monsters. I don't want to see a dark. I
Yeah,
will, but I don't really want to see a dark monsters because what's the point? I'll go fucking see, Boris Karloff instead. You know what I mean? Or Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with De Niro. If I want to see a scary Frankenstein monster thing,
there's
they're
only
missing the
one way
point.
that there would only be one way it would work, and even then it would be way too late because somebody already beat him to it. and that is if you made them into like a family, and like I said, this plot's already been done. Michael Cassie did it with Hunter's Moon. He
Mm-hmm.
took his family, his cast was a family of werewolves who actually were serial killer hunters. That's what they did. They hunted serial killers to kill them.
Really?
They're all werewolves. Yes, fucking fantastic premise. Love it. Fantastic premise. And the only thing I can think of with the monsters is you made them into like a monster squad, like like a Hellboy, there you go,
No,
another movie.
you're right. It
Hellboy.
is. You're right. It is. I just looked. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you're right. It is James Wan. Okay.
And
Okay.
it's the only way I can think it would work is like you made them into like a crime fighting family. Like have
Yeah.
them fight creatures, but it's already been done. It's
Yeah.
already been done. Frankenstein had been done. Again, Hunter's Moon's been done, and and Hellboy's been done. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where you would go with it. I will say this though. My only thing is if you're gonna do this, please bring back Daniel Roebuck as Grandpa because
Oh,
I love.
I really enjoyed that movie. He was spot on. Jeff Daniel Phillips. He he took a little while getting used to as Herman. I grew to love him. Sherry Moon Zombie, I'm a big defender of hers. I didn't like her. But that's just her interpretation of didn't like it. But I had fun with a lot of their performances, especially when it's the bird out of water story. When they're in the suburbs finally, that was a lot of fun. When they're having a blast at the Halloween party, they don't realize it's Halloween, and they're all in the fucking costumes, including Cassandra Peterson. Elvira's there dressed as a witch, and then they come out and they see everybody, and it's Mayberry or whatever. Everybody's mowing lawns and having fun, and that's when Herman freaks out. That type of stuff is fun to me. I
It
just
is.
think I think a lot of people. Now, here's my thing. You know me. Always give a movie a chance. If you want to hate on a movie, that's fine. Just watch it first. I think a lot of people, because like I said, they want to hate on Rob just because it's the thing to do. And he's an acquired taste. I 100% admit Rob Zombie movies are an acquired taste, but I think a lot of people just refuse to see it and hated on it because they loved the source material so much that they didn't want to give it a chance because air quotes when I say this, they thought Rob was going to make him into the typical white trash redneck family.
Yeah,
Well, if you
that
know
was
your
it.
Rob Zombie history, he absolutely loves the source material. He made a fucking song called Dragula, of all things. He is going to respect the material as much as he can, but also make it his own, which is why he made it a prequel. He put it in color. He's not going to make it like, William Forsythe in his Halloween movie talking about the different things he's going to do to the daughter and stuff like that. Rob would not do that, but people couldn't get past Rob's typical characters, in my opinion.
But do you think people? I think with Rob Zombie, I think what kills him. I think what really kills him, he's never broken the streak. But I think the reason why fans really reject him is the fact that he keeps on casting his wife, and his wife's not a good actress at all. And
So
he keeps
what?
on casting. Yeah, but people, you know what though? It's when you got someone who actually could fit the role,
Well, here's the thing.
you know.
Here's the thing. You hate. When I say this, I'm talking about the haters. You guys hate the fact that he always casts Sherry Moon Zombie. Why are you paying money to watch it? Why are you sitting down and watching 90 minutes? Quit hate watching the stuff.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. That's the first thing they said when they announced it. When they announced it, the first, no one said. Here's the thing. When
Mm-hmm.
they announced it as being family friendly and PG-13. Nobody said shit about that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said what Rob Zombie in a PG-13 movie. Oh, that's gonna
It's
suck.
just PG. It's
Yeah,
just PG. Yeah.
PG.
Yeah.
Nobody. I didn't see anybody hate on that. I didn't see nobody, not a word. The only thing I heard from anything else was when people said, well, when they saw that Sherry Zombie was going to be, Moon Zombie was going to be, that's what people went to because they've already seen her before in other movies and they don't like her in other movies and they've expressed that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, don't cast her. She's not that good.
Yeah,
They're
but you know
not
what?
doing it.
The thing about Rob is too, he doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? He wants to make the movie he wants to make.
Yeah, and that's why some of his movies lose money. And that's the thing. It's like to me, it's like, you know what? I would swallow your pride a little bit, or give her a supporting role,
Well,
and make money. Make money so you can do something bigger, and then
he can't win if he does that because he gave her a smaller role in the first Halloween. She was just a normal, work a day mom. She has to strip to pay the bills. She's in a bad relationship with the boyfriend. The tragedy happens, with Michael. She is seeing him day in and day out at the asylum. I think she shows she can act when she's playing someone normal, air quotes, you know what I mean? Not this over the top baby character or, Lily Munster. She can act. People still shit on her no matter what. So it's a lose-lose situation. That's
Yeah,
my
that's,
opinion.
I think
So
that's when you cut. That's when you got to make. You got to choose one of the lesser of two evils. Like,
well,
do I cast her? Do I keep casting her because she's my wife and everything else, or do I go ahead and just for once just listen to the outside fan? I mean, these people are barking. They're not all just noobs all coming off the street. They're zombie fans, and then they're telling him not to cast her.
but
That's
again,
the
like I
thing.
said, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
He just wants to make the movie he wants to make.
yeah.
Good for him. That's what I say.
Uh, Yeah, it's good for him, but again, you don't want to alienate the fan base that's there. I mean, he got the movie because of his fan base.
Yeah.
The same fan base, you know how it is today. They'll turn on you in a minute.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, and we
100%.
saw that. We saw that with the Munsters. The Munsters absolutely. They were. They said they weren't going to release it in the theaters, but that was bullshit. They went straight to streaming because
Rob's well, it also I don't see Rob as the type of guy that's gonna lie. He himself said it was always a planned straight to Netflix movie. But
yeah.
I don't see any reason why he would lie. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think he wanted it to be a big hit. I think you still want to be able to prove your point. Have your movie make money at the theater.
Mhm.
Yeah, people see it 30,000 times on Netflix, but how do you
But
know?
it's also got physical media though. It's made some money
Did it?
on Blu-ray and DVD. Yep.
God, I didn't even know it got released that way.
Oh yeah, I bought it the first day it came out. Absolutely. Yep.
It's probably the last. It's probably probably the last movie to come out of Best Buy. No, I didn't know it got a physical release. I thought it was just a straight streamer. All right,
Hmm.
all right.
Yeah, it came out within I think it was on Netflix for about a month or so, and then it came out to physical.
Okay, that's not bad.
Hmm.
Speaking of physical, talk about a segue here. So, this summer, okay, so a couple of summers ago, Eric decided he was going to do a Shark Week. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with Shark Week, because I think this is a fascinating story.
Okay, well, when I first started Shark Week, I just thought it would be a fun concept. 7 movies or 7 videos, because one of them was my Bloody Sunday video. And what Bloody Sunday is I just take a death from a movie or a TV show and just discuss it. So obviously I picked Jaws or something like that. And I thought it would be kind of fun to challenge myself to pump out 7 movies, one a day type of thing during the week of Shark Week. And I started out, it was fun. I did, the Jaws franchise. I did, I think, was it
Yes,
is it
that was 4 movies.
37 meters down or something like that. I did a couple other ones. And then, oh, then I think one of them, I don't know if that was if that was the that was the week I decided to do a Ouija shark. Yeah, it was. I originally did a Ouija shark based on your recommendation.
Yeah.
So, but it
What?
ended up being a fun video because I do have a group of people that just enjoy me watching these stupid movies. Air quotes. Every man's trash is another man's treasure,
It is.
and
It is
they
hilarious.
like me discussing them because I try to rant, but I want to make it funny. Like you have those YouTubers out there that do those fake angry video game nerd type rants, that they've written scripts for. And I got a lot of positive feedback, mainly from you, and I appreciate you sharing the hell out of that video. And
That's
that
right.
inspired me to the second Shark Week. I was literally I literally called it Shitty Shark Week. I was
Hmm.
going to do nothing but shark movies, from Wild Eye. And now, don't get me wrong. I know Wild Eye has its supporters. God bless you. I am never one to tell people that what they like is stupid. Because look at me. Who am I to judge? I like a lot of stupid shit too. But I'm not a fan of Wild Eye. I'm not a fan of Wild Eye movies. Aside from Baby Frankenstein, that's that diamond. You know what I mean? In the kitty litter box. That's that diamond in the kitty litter box.
There's actually a few of them out there, and one movie I need to bring back up and talk about, and because they had that movie Abigail recently, right? About the little girl being a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie called The House of Salem.
Okay.
And it had the same premise. It had a gang of kidnappers that this gang kidnaps this kid, and they're supposed to hold this kid to be picked up the next day, and then weird shit starts to happen, and then there's these two killers that are coming in. They're elite killers. They're assassins. They're coming in, but then we start seeing that this boy is starting to manifest some strange abilities. And and of course, toward the end, the final girl and the kid, they escape the house, and they show the two assassins. They're going after them, but you're sitting there going like, you see the two killers. They have that look on their face, like, yeah, we're gonna take care of business. But honestly, you're thinking to yourself, going like, yeah, those guys are going to they're going to be somebody's art on the wall, because he's going to splatter them all over it. It's a fucking kick-ass movie, and that it's so nobody's ever heard about it. It's so underrated, but it's such a cool ending.
I have nothing against Wild Eye. It's just their batting average is in the toilet with me. Like, for the first Shark Week I did was 2022, and it was Jaws, Jaws 2, 3, The Revenge, a Ouija Shark. I did Deep Blue Sea, and I did 47 Meters Down. And then I got a lot of positive feedback from the Ouija Shark video with your help.
That's right.
I thought, since people like me watching bad movies, air quotes, I thought I would do Shitty Shark Week for 2023. And I said
I had to pull you. I had to push you though, because you weren't going to do it at first.
I didn't want to, because it's Wild Eye, and like I said, for every 20 bad movies, there's one Baby Frankenstein, in my opinion. So I did, and sadly, not on purpose, it was pretty much nothing but Mark Polonia's shark films, because I didn't know that asshole made so many shark movies. So it ended up being Sharkula, which is one of the worst films I've ever seen. It ended up being Jurassic Shark 2, Noah's Shark, good God, Cocaine Shark, kiss my ass, and then Sharkenstein, which had promise, but then Polonia does his usual Polonia stuff and ruins it.
Right.
So, man,
you were hating it afterwards.
I was, and the thing is, like I said, I was getting upset because every time I don't read. You don't really need to know what's going to happen in a bad shark movie from Wild Eye or any company. But every single time it said a film by Mark Polonia, I'm like, great, and God bless him. I'm glad I started with Sharkula, because the movies got better, which isn't saying much. But you had so much fun with that week. You've been pushing me to do another Shark Week, and I kept telling you flat up, no, I'm not doing this again. I've had my fill of shitty shark movies. Every time there's an Ouija shark mention, you have to send it to me on Instagram. Every time there's a new shark movie coming out, and me, it's just a simple no or frowny face.
They've got some really good sharks coming out though. So, like, we're talking about Danny Trejo. I think he did like 5-headed shark attack or something like that.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 of those movies. It started with 2-headed shark attack, and by the end of it, there's like 8 heads on the shark. And don't get me wrong, I love the Sharknado movies. You know what I mean? So I have no room to talk. But we finally sat down, and you and I have decided, more so just to shut you up, that I believe in July, Because I
Yes.
made an addendum. I'm like, I'm not doing 7 films. Absolutely not. I love you to death, Patrick, but no. So we decided that I believe there's 4 weeks in July. You're going to choose, as long as I have access to them, I'm going to have blind reviews of 4 shark films picked by Patrick. And I think we decided every Wednesday that
Yeah.
month we will upload
It's
it.
going to be 5 weeks of shark movies
Oh,
in
Christ.
July. We're doing every Wednesday, the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st.
Good Lord.
You are doing bad shark movies.
Mm-hmm.
I managed to get my ass hooked into this because since I've been the ones since I've been telling Eric which movies to watch, now he gets to pick 5 movies that I have to watch, and they don't have to be shark movies.
Correct.
So he gets to turn around and picked out 5. Like I sent him the shark exorcist or the dinosaur exorcist today, Jurassic Exorcist.
Yeah.
I get to watch 5 of those movies.
Yeah.
That Eric's gonna pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got you though. I think I can get you to say fuck off before you get me to say it.
Oh, I'm sure I can. 100%. I'm sure that'll happen. I know for a fact that'll happen. And I'm gonna be mean. I'm gonna be mean.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm gonna
that's
pick some
all in
good
good
ones
friend.
out
It's
for
all
you.
in good. It's all in good friendship. But
I'm,
it's
I'm
gonna be
gonna
fun.
I'm definitely gonna try because like I said, there's one movie I really like to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's I think it's called Blue Demon or Black Demon, and
Okay.
that one has Josh Lucas in it, and that's legit.
Okay.
There's another one called the Requin. I
Mm-hmm.
think that one has Alicia Silverstone in it,
Okay.
and I know there's that one, and there's been some seriously decent ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't, I know you're gonna laugh your ass off with this, but when I ask you this, but have you ever seen them? Have you ever seen Santa Jaws?
No, but I know of it and its reputation.
Okay, that reputation
Mm-hmm.
is wrong.
Is it?
That movie has a lot of heart to it.
Okay.
It really has a lot of heart to it. I
Mm-hmm.
was shocked. I'm sitting there going like, oh my god. I'm just like you, like oh my. But then I'm watching it and I'm realizing I'm watching it and I was going like, this movie has some heart to it. I'm really liking this movie.
Eh, what I
It's like
what I'm really looking forward to this, all jokes aside about me me having to sit through 5, piles of trash, is I might find something because I might find something like a baby Frankenstein. Because if I gave up on, oh my gosh, the first 3 or 4, like my first Wild Eye review ever was Shark Exorcist. And that's one of the biggest piles of flaming garbage, I've ever seen. It's
wait a minute,
awful.
wait a minute. That movie is they spent more money on Shark Exorcist than they did on Wheezy Shark. And that was Donald Farmer. That wasn't Mark Polonia that did at Shark
Yeah.
Exorcist.
Shark Exorcist was like one of the worst films I've ever reviewed for my channel. I have reviewed a lot of garbage, but you know me though, Patrick. If I think something is good, I'm going to give it the credit it deserves.
Yeah, Shark
So
Exorcist was bullshit.
so fuck that movie. Fuck
That
that
movie,
movie. It was
I,
one of the worst films, like I said, I've ever sat down and watched. And I mean, a lot of people think it's because I reviewed it and threw it out there because everyone was doing Wild Eye reviews. I'm sorry, I'm not. No disrespect to anyone who enjoys that film. I'm not really going to take your. This is me speaking. I don't represent Patrick. I'm not really going to take a lot of your reviews serious if you think that like you throw that out there saying like it's a masterpiece. There's people out there that say it is. No, no,
really?
no, it's not. Oh yeah, there.
Oh,
And
oh,
again, I think a lot of it was at the time was just blind loyalty. You know what I mean? Which happens. It does happen, and it's something that sometimes you can't avoid. But that movie was one of the worst wastes of time I've ever seen it. I
totally.
recently, for St. Patrick's Day, did it like a somewhat watch along of the Leprechaun's Curse. That was a chore to get through, but it was still not as bad as Shark Exorcist.
Shark Exorcist is pretty painful. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked like it got made for, a $7 Wendy bag, bag meal, grab bag or something. It was painful. I mean, it was funny because I remember getting approached by this really sweet lady named Elaine, and
Mm-hmm.
she came up to me and says, "Hey, could you, can we, can you interview, help me interview, get an interview for one of the people who produced the movie?" And I said, "Sure, but but I want to interview you, because I
Mm-hmm.
said I watched the movie. I said, but I want to interview you." So I got to interview Elaine, and then through Elaine, I got to interview Donald Farmer. And let me tell you, Donald Farmer's a really nice man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he really is a very nice man. So you know what? So's Brett Kelly. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'll never get Brett. And Brett Kelly would come on my show just for him to look at me and tell me to go fuck off. And then he would leave. He would.
Well,
Because I've been unmerciful to Brett Kelly. I've trashed his movies. You know, Waffle.
here's the thing, Patrick. I'm not a fan of his acting. When you sent me Jurassic Exorcist, it's from Jeff Kirkendall, who is one of Mark Polonia's go-to guys.
Yeah.
He seems like in like these behind the scenes, he seems like the sweetest guy
Hmm.
in the whole world. And I hate saying that, dude, you fucking sucked in Sharkula, but you fucking sucked in Sharkula. And I
Yeah.
hate saying that when these a job, like we just said with Danny Trejo and Sam Jackson, job's a job. They're working actors. But sometimes, even the
But it's
sweetest
not his
guys,
responsibility.
sweet,
It's not his responsibility as an actor. It's
it's the
his
director.
it's the director's responsibility. It's the
Yeah.
screenwriter's responsibility. And that's really interesting you mentioned that because John Oak Dalton, he wrote a lot of Mark Polonia movies. He wrote a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But as of late, not so much. John Oak has been doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I still got to watch and review Scarecrow County, but I already heard that's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I already did the girl underneath the stairs. I did that movie. That's a good movie. That
Okay.
movie, I really enjoyed that one. I didn't like the other one that he did though. I think it was called House or something, like Tech House or something like that, or something. It just was so badly low budgeted, and the producer had his wife in the lead role, and she couldn't act. She was worse than Sherry Moon Zombie by 100,
Mm-hmm.
and it was painful. It was painful to watch,
But
and I just felt bad for John Oak Dalton because he's actually a very very good screenwriter.
but see
But
that what I was getting to is like if I gave up after that one Wild Eye film review, I never would have seen Baby Frankenstein. Jurassic Dead had its moments where I chuckled, but it was garbage. You know what I mean? But the thing
yeah,
is, bless Jeff Kirkendall to death.
you know,
Mark Polonia is not a good director, and as I've told you, as Mark's career has gone on, he does nothing but fucking shark movies
no,
now. He now knows his reputation. He makes a big deal that every one of his shark movies has that stupid hand puppet because he acts like it's the freaking holy grail. No, it's dumb, dude. And
um,
it just makes the other people involved in his movies come off bad. It's like George Lucas. George Lucas, great world builder, very creative, shitty
yeah,
director.
yeah,
Everyone says
terrible,
that.
terrible
His
screenwriter.
he says, his direction is, was it faster, more intense. Even he said that. He's a great writer, world builder, all this. He's not a good director. Why are the better Star Wars movies, in my opinions, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi? Because Lucas isn't directing them.
Yeah, and he didn't write them either.
Mm. So,
Uh,
but
uh,
it's
uh,
just I feel bad for the actors in Polonia films that I have reviewed because I don't want to trash them
yeah,
because a good director can get a good performance out of someone
sure,
who can't act. The
yeah.
problem is Mark Polonia doesn't give two craps.
And I mean, there's some good actors that he's got, like you said, mentioned Jeff Kirkendall, and I'll have to throw in Titus Himmelberger into that mix. His wife Natalie, are those two are pretty good. Greta
Okay.
Volkova, she's
Mm-hmm.
a really strong actress. When I first interviewed Jeff after Steven started the House of Horrors,
Mm-hmm.
man, I mean, him and I were talking about that, and I felt so bad because it was one of the very first interviews that we did.
Mm-hmm.
I helped with Stephen launch. And if you go back and watch that, you'll see Jeff like this, like he had his arms crossed.
Yeah.
He was in defense mode, for the
Really?
almost entire. Yes, it was
That's
so noticeable.
yeah.
I felt so bad, and I told Stevens, man, he was really uncomfortable in that
Hmm.
interview.
Yeah.
And you could see that right off the bat. I mean, he's just sitting there, the arm crossed. I mean, he just he was afraid he was going to he was afraid he was just going to get ripped on, and we
Yeah.
weren't for that at all.
Right.
We were asking some really fun questions, I thought,
And see,
but
that's not fair to him because of like it's like Jeff always says, okay, Mark's making another movie. I got a job. You know what I mean? But the
right,
problem is Mark doesn't care about his films anymore. So Jeff, if he's trying to promote the film,
and he does,
he's going to be on edge with these interviews, waiting for someone to say your movie was garbage. And
yeah,
there are some, I hate to say it, there are some people out there on the internet who will bring you in and tell you to your face in a disrespectful way. And that then you shouldn't even be interviewing the guy.
yeah. I like there's this like there's one director who the one I told you about before. I'll never invite on because I couldn't do it. I could not. I'm honest. I could not hold my professionalism with him. I just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it. As soon as I saw him, it'd be like be like blood in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I would just come at it,
Yeah.
and it would be personal because I feel like this director has ruined a lot of people's careers. I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that the shitty movies that he's made has contributed to a lot of good actors not having a chance to have a good career.
That's too bad.
And yeah, it really is. And
Mm-hmm.
it just angers me. But
Mm-hmm.
someone like a Brett Kelly or Mark Polonia or whatnot, it's so frustrating as a viewer, as a fan. Like who doesn't like who does honestly who doesn't like watching a bad shark movie? It's
Bro,
a whole genre on
I
itself.
just told you I really love the Sharknado movies. They're
Yeah,
fun. They're stupid as all
they are
hell.
stupid. The
They're dumb,
CGI is
but they're
garbage,
fun.
but
The problem is the the director and the writers of those movies and the actors 100% self-aware. Okay? And that helps a film. And for a 50-cent budget, they still try to make a fun movie. You can tell Mark Polonia, who only has 10 cents in his budget, doesn't care. There's a big difference. You know what I mean?
uh, yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
So
I do.
that's why I
Um,
always say I'm not one to judge because I like my garbage too, just as much as the next guy. Everybody likes a movie that everyone hates but you.
Now,
So
do you have any idea what your five movies are going to be for me? I mean, I
well,
like cheetahs. I like cheetahs. Um,
the only one, like I said, the only one I'm pretty sure, and I'll be really freaking surprised is if Ouija Shark 2 is not on the list for me. But other than that, I have no idea what you're going to send my way.
I did this for you. My background normally of a dark song, but I knew you were coming today, so I put
Yep.
my background as Ouija Shark 2.
What a dick. But
But
other
but
than but go ahead.
but here's the good thing. Here's the good thing about Ouija Shark 2.
Mhm.
It's directed by someone who knows what the hell he's doing. That is
That's
why
fine.
I'm actually looking forward to watching this myself
Have you not
because
seen it
I
yet?
know that. Yeah, I have not watched it because I think it just hit Tubi not that long ago.
Okay.
But he did a movie called Creature from Cannibal Creek.
Okay.
John something or another. That movie is balls to the wall fun.
Okay.
Man, that's a fun movie.
See,
I've been talking.
being self aware and putting in the effort helps. It
It
really
does.
does.
I mean, Brett Kelly made his movie for $220 Canadian. Now, I
Really?
mean, that's literally how much he spent on it. He spent $220, and mostly it was like, I think it was food for the cast and the shark. He bought the shark like at a Dollar Tree.
All right. I just
Uh,
added a Ouija Shark 2 to the queue. So
um, so I mean, but he made that movie, and I watched it. It was really fun. In fact,
good.
what happened? Yes, and wait till you
Good.
do the research about how that movie was made. Brett Kelly was going to retire
Hmm.
because 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 Rob took that movie away from him. He went to John,
Hmm.
and because I mean Ouija Shark made money.
Did
I
it?
mean he couldn't help but. Oh, $200.
Oh, that's true.
He
Yeah,
took it. He took it to Japan. It opened up in theaters in Japan.
I could see that.
That movie made a lot of money.
Hmm.
Even if it made $1 million against a $200 budget, that's like a top historical. As far as money comes back in, that's one of the top grossing pictures ever made.
Hmm.
Think about it. So Rob, to his credit,
Hmm.
not I'm not trashing Rob at all for this.
Right.
What he did was maybe should have been more honest with Brett, but he asked the guy John to make the movie Second Ouija Shark. They didn't tell Brett that they were going to go a different direction,
Hmm.
but they did. And so he got a bigger budget. He got a more competent director. I have not seen the movie yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot better than Ouija Shark 2.
Okay.
Or the first one. I mean, it can't get much worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And like I said, as much as I trashed that movie and gave you the special FU at the end of the video, I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot worse. You know.
Yeah, and Steven commented that the movie with Josh Lucas is The Black Demon. I think that's definitely be one of the ones I pick because I think that's gonna be a badass movie. I
Okay.
heard mixed emotions of it. I'm gonna watch it. I think it's on Tubi as well. I'm gonna watch that
Okay.
because I might even co-review that one with you because
Okay.
I'm interested because
Okay.
Josh Lucas is one of my favorites. So I'm in for that one.
Yeah.
But the other four, I don't sure what they'll be. I don't know what they'll be. They'll be fun. I mean,
But
Ouija Shark 2 will definitely make the list, so we got to throw that in there.
yeah,
But I don't know
I
what else.
that was
I don't.
that was the only definite I knew because that's a Ouija Shark 2 has been a year in the making. You and me teasing each other about it, so I knew that was a definite. For me, throwing your way, I don't know. It depends on because we're going to get these lists in advance. We're going to record them in advance, so we have time to upload. So once I get your list, maybe that'll determine mine.
Yeah, I will
But
definitely get to your list. I will send that to you by the end of the week for sure.
sure.
Definitely for sure. Mr. Dan mentioned about some of the movies. Another good movie. There's two good movies Mr. Dan mentioned one good movie from Wild Eye, and that was Catholic Blues. That's a great movie.
Okay.
Love that movie. And the other one is House on Cuckoo Lane.
Okay.
Really, really like that. Strawberry Chocolate Vanilla.
I've
That's a
heard that one was good. Yes.
Yeah. The first half is sort of like unevenish, but that last half of it, it's a banger.
Okay.
Yeah, Australians can do horror. I tell you that.
Mhm.
Um, and see, Mr. Dan Horror said he reviewed House of Salem. Um, similar premise to Whisper and a Japanese film called Prey, and I also think similar premise to Abigail as well.
Okay.
Uh, and Yeah, it's a really good. I don't know what happened to the director from that.
Hmm.
Um, it's you see a lot of first time directors and then they come out their movie and then they just vanish and you just you just I'm waiting. I keep waiting for Liam Gavin to do another movie. I don't know if he ever will. He made the perfect movie in my eyes
Yeah.
with A Dark Song. I've been waiting for 8 years for him to come out with another one.
I don't. I have the Blu-ray of A Dark Song. That is going to be one of my movies I've never seen that I'm going to discuss on the channel this year.
We covered it twice now. I think Mike covered it on his channel. I covered it again with Dell for Movie Swap. We covered it there, and of course, we covered it with Night Watch and Coriander for the IFC show.
Okay.
That's how I met Mike.
Okay.
I saw Mike in the Night Watch and he commented they were talking about movies, and Mike dropped a Dark Song, and that's how Mike and Night met over that movie as well.
Okay.
And so I saw that and I'm like, oh, you know about that movie too? And I'm like, oh hell yeah! So but that's my favorite movie ever.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch and discuss that one because it's been hyped to the moon for me, but it's only 3 or 4 people even have ever mentioned it. So
Well, it's a. I think I think I even heard Mike mention that he was probably going to go back there and redo it again. To
okay.
watch it again. So maybe he can get you on there to watch it with him because
Hmm.
that would be a really good show. And I mean I got to catch up with some of the ISC stuff. I got to catch up with Late Night with the Devil.
That was really good. I have that was my latest review. Like I reviewed, I mentioned one of my friend's fan films, but my latest like movie I reviewed was Late Night with the Devil, and I was really pleased with that one. So happy with that film.
I never knew that guy who played Jack Delroy. I didn't
Hmm.
know who he was. I saw his face and I'm like, okay. And then I heard that he did the Suicide Squad, but I hadn't seen it.
Hmm.
And then I watched the Belko Experiment for Movie Swap, and there he was with Michael Rooker. I'm like, oh
Oh,
shit, that's Jack
he
Delroy. Like,
yeah, he's I loved the Suicide Squad. He's great as Polka Dot Man. He's in the Dark Knight. He's one of the Joker's minions. He's briefly in A Quiet Place. He's one of those guys, David Delmakian. I butchered his last name,
yeah,
but
Del Monte or something
yeah,
like that.
he's one of those guys that you're always going to get a memorable performance from. And he's one of those guys now, like we were talking about. Hey, this person's in this movie. All right, I'm gonna watch it. He's one of those
Yeah,
type of actors.
yeah, he's new to me, so I'm curious. I've got to do the same thing with Glenn Powell because I've been watching his rise, and
Hmm.
I've gotten a lot of his movies. I've actually gotten quite a few,
Hmm.
including one I'm very happy to get because I'm sort of surprised I haven't watched it yet, but I am going to watch it, and that's called Devotion.
Okay.
Really want to see that a lot, and when the library dropped it down to me, I was really happy with it. Man, it's so weird though. It's so weird. It's like when you see a movie like that
Hmm.
and you really want it, and you're like, man, I really want that movie, and then you get it,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, I got it, but now which one do I want now?
Right.
But you haven't even watched the one you just got. You spent weeks looking for it. You got it. Aren't you gonna watch it?
Bro, I still got boxes of movies I haven't freaking touched, and I'm still ordering stuff. It's just not to sound bad, but it is an addiction
It
sometimes.
is. It is.
Pull the curtain back on me sometimes when I get in my moods. I have my depression buys. You know what I mean? I'm just for something to do to escape. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's an addiction. Like people can be addicted to drugs. People can be addicted to alcohol. People can be addicted to coffee. People can be addicted to food. People can be addicted to purchasing movies.
I can quit. I can quit. I
Yeah,
can quit.
yeah. We got together at 7 o'clock p.m. my time, and I had my coffee. So you know what I mean. So I
Hmm.
get it, but I've got so many movies, and again, that's why I said I'm going to get rid of a lot of my figures. I'm going to find eBay or Facebook groups or something like that because I just don't
Well,
have the room anymore.
yeah. If you have Black Phillip, let me know.
Okay, if I ever come across it, I will. But
Do you have a?
speaking of that, I know we always end with me promoting. I do want to say this. Speaking of movies, I'm getting rid of.
Okay.
I did make a short, and I'm going to continue promoting. I did send you the short. If I used to be on, for people who don't know, I used to be on a podcast with my buddy Frenzy called Two Bearded Losers, and it was one of the best times of my life. Just two guys sitting down, like right here, shooting the shit. You know what I mean? I always loved a movie. He always fucking hated it. But what the point was, we always had a fun conversation. And July 1st would have been will be, if we were still going, our 4-year anniversary, give or take hiatuses. You know what I mean? Well, I thought if I hit 1,500 subs by July 1st, because I always wanted to do a giveaway for the podcast. If I hit 1,500 subs, I'm at 1,328 now. I'm going to, and when we brought back for the latest season, we called it the fun factor. And what that was is you try to find the fun in these films. It could be something as bad as like Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, or Maximum Overdrive. And we try to find the fun in those movies. There are fun.
Most of the time, the fun in those movies came when you clicked them off. With the remote.
Right. But again, it was something that we did. It was a gimmick. So what I'm doing is movies that I've upgraded or I don't need anymore. I have a box this size.
Whoa.
And I have more movies over there because it's overflowing. Okay. These are
You got any
movies.
IFC movies in there, brother?
Um well, it's going to be a secret because here it is. If I hit obviously I'm going to get a bigger fucking box because look, it's overflowing. But if I hit those 1,500 subs by July 1st, so spread the word, I am going to have a contest. So you will have to put in some effort.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I am giving out nothing but fun factor type films.
What are you gonna have like you're gonna have people like you have them list like their 3 favorite bad shark movies or something like that?
I haven't decided what the contest is going to be yet.
Because that would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. One, you could do your contest, and that would help. And then the second thing would be give you a bunch of movies for Shark Week 4 next year.
What I do know is it's going to be Two Bearded Losers related and fun factor related. I might throw in a shark question because we did discuss Jaws the Revenge. So I might do that, for you, Patrick. But if I hit those subs by July 1st, I'll have a contest. You got to do a video type of thing, questions, that whole spiel. And hate to say it, I know I have people that live out of state or out of the country. Sorry, it's going to be US only because mail is fucking expensive enough as it is. You will get every single thing that's in this box plus the overflow. It's a mystery, but it's free fucking movies. You know what I mean? All expenses paid. We do have some Blu-rays in here. We've got some TV shows. We've got some comic book movies. We've got movies that have never been officially released. So I do have some, custom Blu-rays, stuff like that. But they're all. I'll give you an example. I have Santa's Sleigh. You know what I mean? That dumbass movie where Bill Goldberg plays a killer Santa Claus.
Oh.
But it's fun. I have that. That's one movie. I have Dr. Giggles, a dumbass slasher movie.
Yeah, wasn't that with Larry Drake?
Yeah, with Larry Drake. I have that on DVD. I have a bunch of stuff. Like I said, it's all free. You ain't losing nothing.
No.
What's the worst that's going to happen? You hate it? Throw it in the trash.
I think that's hard to find now.
Yeah, so that's my plan. So if I hit 1,500 subs by July 1st.
Wow. That's actually 2 decent movies right off the bat. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That would be interesting for 1,500 people. Yeah, we could definitely push that out.
Yeah, because I wanted to do it as a way to celebrate because, like I said, Two Bearded Losers was one of the most fun times in my life. And
are you going to get back together for a one-off anytime soon?
We are. He has a different living situation now. He's getting everything set up. He texted me the other day. We are going to get together just to do regular hangouts. No more podcasting, just shooting the shit type of stuff. And it's more fun. It's less pressure for him. He doesn't have to do any uploads to all the websites. And he's also a perfectionist. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, this part sucked. This didn't. I tell him, shut the fuck up. It's fine type of thing. You know what I mean? But that's just how he is because he used to make films and stuff like that. And it's just less pressure for him just to sit down and BS with each other. But yeah, we'll be streaming soon together.
Streaming soon. Your interviews are going back up. Do you have anything booked that's upcoming that we could talk about other than did you book Austin for a show?
Not yet. I'm going to watch and review his film first, and I'm going to let him know how I thought about it. And because I don't know him personally, if I don't like his film, I'm going to tell him.
You're going to watch.
And I don't want there to be tension. But he is a potential person. I've got a wrestler, Eric Fallen, written down. My buddy Charlie, who does the figures. He's going. My buddy Mike. He is a podcaster from the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast. I've known him for. God, since my daughter was in diapers and she's now 12. So I've known him for a long time. I was even a co-host on that show for over a year. I'm even actually going to interview Frenzy. You know what I mean? From Two Bearded Losers. It's going to be a sit-down interview with Frenzy. And it's going to be fun because he wants hard-hitting questions. And I'm also going to interview some dude from Have Cheetah Will View, some loser. But
the guy's always trying to get you to do all the shark movies.
That asshole will be an interview subject sooner or later.
That guy's he's always looking to sprack shit up. I don't know.
What a prick. But hey, you know what? It might give me a couple views, so it'll be worth it.
Are you going to have I was going to say, are you going to have Mike come on your show?
I'm gonna reach out to him. I'm gonna reach out to a bunch of people, and then because like I said, I got to get back in the groove first. So I got to get back to people that I know, and then I'm gonna get out of the bubble and reach out to people that I've never had conversations with, type of thing. But
If you do Austin's movie, do his feature film, do Sweet Killing Machines. That movie is badass.
the one I'm going to, yeah, that's the one he sent me. Sweet Killing
Yeah,
Machines.
yeah, Sweet Killing Machines. That's badass.
Yep,
It's,
I'm gonna
I
try.
won't tell you anything about it, but I'll tell you one thing: if you like Tarantino, you're really gonna like this movie.
I'm going into it completely blind. He did
Yeah.
send me a press release, which I'm not going to read until after I watch the film. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm going to try to get to it within the next week or so because I don't want him, hanging, just leave him hanging type of thing. That'll be disrespectful, but I'm going to do my best.
No.
And I'm going to probably reach out to him as well.
Well, Katie interviewed him, and then she passed him on to somebody else, and they're doing the interview with him tomorrow at noon,
Okay.
which I'm sure will be well attended. Because it's noon, so it's actually a pretty good time. So actually, he might actually do the best show of us so far. But I know that he's doing the show with him tomorrow. But I think after that, he's clean and clear of anybody around in our community. So you can get him in a month or so after
Yeah.
after you watch the movie.
And I want to throw this out there to Steven, who's in the chat, Steven Chang. Dude, you want to be interviewed by me? That's fine. We'll set something up, but don't say that I'm not big crap. As much as you promote people, I don't know you personally. This is probably the biggest conversation I've had with you. Patrick can give you all the information to get a hold of me, either Facebook or Instagram. I've seen you in community posts, because you tag Patrick in a lot of stuff, so I can see what you're posting. You're one of the biggest promoters when it comes to, I think it's women in horror or just YouTubers in general. So don't sell yourself short, dude. We're our own worst critics. I don't think I'm that great of an interviewer. Everybody else says I'm good. Okay. You give yourself more credit, Steven. You do much more for the community than you think. So don't.
I agree with that. I think I agree. It's just it's all about self-confidence.
Yeah.
And it's really all it goes down to is self-confidence. Get out there, and I personally think that you going online and doing this more and more, it helps you as a press and promotion person, because now you know what your clients are going to be facing when they talk to people. Like, you can recognize, because sometimes and I've seen this with press people, promo person people, they'll book somebody like on a Bill Maher show where the host is an asshole.
Yeah.
And and it's like, you're not the one sitting there answering the questions. Your client is. And to me, it's like, I want to, if I'm booking, like, if I have a roster of 10 people, I want to sit down and talk to the person I'm going to be sending my clients to. I want to see how they're how they act with the, are they going to try, are they going to be shock jockey? Are they going to try for the gotcha moment? Are they going to be straight and narrow? I want to hear other, I want to hear other shows that they've done. So I don't, because the last thing I want is to send one of my clients into an ambush situation.
Well, that's why with the Austin situation, this is the first time we've ever even talked to each other. I want him to at least see my content first. No one wants to be reviewed by an asshole or a guy who doesn't know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got a nice,
but I also,
good interviews though.
But I want him to also, I don't want him to be uncomfortable. I don't want him to be like Jeff Kirkendall and just be kind of on edge. If he knows I don't like his film, I don't want him to be uncomfortable during an interview.
No, I agree. That's why I don't ever do reviews of anybody I interview until after that interview. I won't do it beforehand. I'll do it afterwards, because I want the interview to be clean and honest. And and like I said, if I watch certain things and if there are some bumps and bruises, then I mention that. But I've learned a lot more too as doing this interview series. I learned so much now about the music, about the movie making process. I understand it now. When someone comes out with one or the first or second movie, I expect it to be a little bit bumpy. I do. They're not. No one's going to come out and hit a. I've only seen 2 directors, maybe 3 directors that I know. I've talked to 2 of them, or one of them, that have hit a grand slam for me.
Right.
Like, I went to the first movie and I'm going like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is really good.
Yeah.
And but that's three. That's three people that I can sit there and say, yeah, that they just crush it the first time through. The rest of the time, it takes 2 or 3, 4 movies before they get their
Yeah.
stride.
Yeah.
And a lot of times these directors come out and they do their first movie, and then some major studio will come out there and say, all right, so you did your indie movie, now come over and do a big project with us.
Yeah.
They go and get destroyed.
Yep.
Hello, Josh Trank.
Yeah.
That guy, I don't know if he'll ever direct another movie again. I'm wondering about that.
That's why when I've only done a couple interviews with wrestlers, with Gavin Alexander and Madman Pondo. I go for the veterans, the ones that have been doing it for years, so we can compare where they started to where they are now.
Yeah. And good experience for you too, because they actually have more experience being interviewed than you have being the interviewee. So you pick up from that as well. And so they're helping. I mean, not only are you giving them a hand, they're giving you one as well. And it shows. And it shows because your interview skills have really gotten sharper. Matt's a good interviewer too. Al's a really good interviewer. I mean, there's some people that are doing really, really well. It can be intimidating. I won't lie to you about that. I mean,
dude, when I started, I hate saying this when I say started small, but with Gavin, because he was someone that I've been a fan of for at least a year and a half at that time. We were DMing each other all the time, and I felt comfortable around him. But then, I started doing, interviews with my buddy Derek from the Yesterday's podcast, which is one of the most fun, nostalgic podcasts out there. I look forward to his uploads every week. And then I finally got the guts to go out and reach out to Madman Pondo, who I have been a fan. People either they like wrestling, they hate it. Deathmatch wrestling, you didn't even know what that was until he explained it to you.
No.
I have been a fan of his since the early 2000s, going on 23 years. Some people might think he's a nobody. To me, he is one of my favorite wrestling personalities. And you saw how you were there in the chat for that interview. He was so down to earth and friendly and bullshitting. He had stories that were not just wrestling related. When he met Marilyn Manson and they did that Vicks Vapor Rub, challenge, and then just stuff like that. Meeting Robert Englund on the set of 2001 Maniacs. These are just normal people like you and me. And once you get out of that comfort zone, you'd be surprised, because I'm actually pretty proud of my interview with Pondo.
No, I think it's great. I mean, you got a playlist now. You now have enough for a playlist. You got them coming in. I mean, and like you mentioned about Steven. Steven has a lot of clients he can bring your way. I mean, it really is all about trying to find the time to do it. I do my show 3 times a week because I'm able to do so at the moment.
Yeah.
If I had to do it once a week, it would be a much more difficult show because you only got 4 slots.
Right.
So
I think I'm gonna do like once I because I have like notebook paper and I'm working on 4 different people at once. You know what I mean? Once I get enough bullet points, I'm gonna reach out. Hey, let's set a date. I'm probably gonna do it just like once a month. You know what I mean? But even with someone like Steven, I got to get to know him first, because I don't want to just go in blind. Hey, Steven, who are you? Tell me a little bit about your life. No, there's more to him than just promoting Women of Horror and getting just self-promotion stuff like that. I want to know a little bit more about the guy behind that guy. You know what I mean? Or else the interview is only 15 minutes long. You know what I mean?
Agree.
But it's great. It makes me feel confident when someone, Steven, who I just met basically today, said he'd be willing to be interviewed. So that's a little bit of a confident booster to me, because it's not just, no offense, my friend Patrick telling me I'm a good interviewer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I got skills.
Yeah, you do. But you know my point.
I got the Cheetah. He's the secret weapon.
That's right.
But you know what though? It's like meeting anybody else at a convention. Like we're talking about meeting Ironside and marking out for Ironside, and like last night, that was me. I'm marking out for Chris Alexander. It's like I've known that guy for 10 years. First time him and I ever talked face to face, but he's been with me through the fire. to the fucking fire. He was with me. I've known him, like I said, I've known him for like 10, 11 years. I met him. This happened about the same. That's how he's the guy who I interviewed yesterday. He's the guy that I went to war with Willie over.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Because Willie was attacking Chris.
Oh, we don't have enough time for Willie stories, man.
No, but he's the one. But he was the one that was attacking Chris.
Really?
Yes, and that's how I got involved. Because I'm sitting there watching. I'm watching him sitting there watching. What was his name? Josh Hadley.
Okay.
So those two guys were boxing, and then another guy from. He had a magazine, and he was into it. And then Willie was going back and forth with Josh, and then he attacked Fangoria. He was going after Chris Alexander. I'm like, wait, fucking a minute. Hold my beer.
Yeah.
And that's Chris. That's the guy who I talked to yesterday.
Okay.
And it was intimidating because he's a Grail guest. He's somebody who I didn't think I would ever get a chance to interview. It's like, man,
that's how I felt with Pondo. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven brought in Steven brought me John Mack. I loved that actress for forever. I watched her work forever. And it's like, you try to ask these people to come on, but sometimes it takes a little bit more extra. And and Steven, he was able to do that. He's working with her, so he's able to help me get that interview.
That's awesome.
And so John Marie Mack. Yeah, John is she's amazing.
Okay.
She's amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what, we have talked our way past to 2.5 hours.
Jesus. What did we say? 45 minutes to an hour. It happens every time with you.
I don't know what that is. Tubers are like that because the tubers are a lot of fun. But we're going to be sending out an update for our July. We're going to come up with a name for this thing.
Well, we can't say Shark Week since it's and you're not necessarily watching shark movies, but
no,
we're
going to come up with this. Cause Eric to implode week.
Fuck off.
How many movies will Eric watch before he just says, "Oh my God"?
Well, I'll BS aside. I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Worried now. I really am because I'm worried because I know a lot of bad movies, and I'm going like, man, yeah, I am.
You should be.
I am. I'm just sitting there going like, all these movies I brought to you too. I'm like, what about this movie? It's not a shark movie, and now I'm thinking like, man, what a dumbass! I've given them all this ammunition, and didn't realize it till today that I'm giving them all this ammunition. I might be the one watching that fucking Jurassic Exorcist.
Well, you're the one who have always said you don't want to get on my bad side, right, Patrick?
No, I guess I am now.
Yeah.
I hope I'm able to survive this week in order to look forward to Shark Week 4 next year. And thank God they're still making bad shark movies.
Yeah, sure.
As long as there's bad shark movies being made, all is well in the world. All right, tomorrow night, thank you to all those who are staying with us. Tomorrow night, we still got 2 shows left this week. And tomorrow night, we'll be talking with the lovely Christy Adams from Nightmare Toys. She'll be here at 8 o'clock, and we will be talking Texas Frightmare with her. She went down there. She took part of it, partook of that. She actually got her picture taken with our friend Steven.
Very
cool. That very cool. And so we'll be talking about that. We're talking about the new collectibles coming up, what's coming up convention-wise in Vegas. You know how it is with Christy. We always talk about how Nightmare Toys is going on. Of course, there will probably be a Black Phillip sighting, hopefully so. And then on Friday, we will be talking with. I always have to go back to this because this is so cool. Their name is so cool, and I always get it wrong. But we're going to be talking with a couple, an awesome couple I met during the Oscars with Danny Nightmare and Gory B Movie. We'll be talking with Creep Country Cinema on the 29th. Creep Country Cinema.
Okay.
That's right. We'll be talking with the Glamour Ghoul and Lastada, and they will be here at 8 o'clock on Friday. They're going to be amazing. I can't wait for them. They're such nice people, and I'm looking forward to that interview on Friday. Then next Sunday. That's right. 2 shows on Sunday. First, we're going over to Katie's channel. for the wonderful world of Hallmark. Me, Eric, Lady Valerie, and Katie are all going over to Katie's channel to watch Love Locks with Rebecca Romaine and Jerry O'Connell. We're covering that. That'll be at 3:00.
Okay.
3:00 Eastern time, I believe.
Okay.
And then at 8:00 on Horror with Haas's channel, we'll bring the IFC Midnights together, and we'll be talking about The Damned.
Okay.
Yeah, can't wait for that. All right, that's it for us. Steven, I will try to get over to your channel as soon as I get done here. If you're still going to go on live, I will try to get over there and catch that with you. If not, I will see you tomorrow. But thanks for coming. Thank you for your support, Eric.
Absolutely.
Thank you as always. Stay right where you're at.
My
and
pleasure.
to everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow night for Christy Adams.
Cheers.
Peace.